Alright, just sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
In 20 years, that's what Charles Barkley will be.
Yeah.
Although Barkley's already shown up on the set without pants on, so
That's a normal occurrence, isn't it?
So have I.
well, that's why we don't have. That's why we.
That's why the camera's right there.
That's
Right, closer the better.
Exactly. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Locker Room. It is Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you, and with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete, Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Howdy.
Hello, gentlemen.
How the hell are you, gentlemen, today?
Well, better than the Yankees.
Yeah,
Did they
well,
win today?
No, they didn't.
They did not.
What, can somebody explain to me why, with the lead in the ninth inning, Aroldis Chapman was not pitching?
Because he sucks, right?
There wasn't enough of a lead.
He's terrible.
All valid answers, but
None of them correct.
None of them correct.
I'm just curious.
None of them.
I don't know.
None of them comforting, actually. With it.
I was driving home from work, and the Yankees. This was shortly after 2:00, and I'm not listening to the game. I was listening to the Michael Kay show, and the Yankees took a 4-3 lead, I think.
Yes, they did.
Michelle had a 2-run single, and Judge had hit a home run, which
2 home runs.
landed in. Well, yeah, but he just hit a monstrous one that landed.
Oh,
in,
right.
Boston or something.
Yeah, from Florida all the way to
and they were up 4-3, and things were looking good, and that was the last I heard. So, and they were ahead in the ninth, apparently.
They were ahead. I guess. I all I know is
they were up. It was 4-3.
Dante.
Oh, no, it was tied. It was tied. It was tied.
Is that what it was? It was 4.
Yeah, no, it was 4-3. Kluber gave up 3 runs. Loizaga came in. I think in the 7th inning he gave up 1, so they tied it in the 7th, and then the bottom of the 9th, Chad Green gave up lost the game.
Boy, the Yankees bullpen's arms are going to fall off before May. It's just,
And you know what's really a shame about that is they've been really good.
They've been great as of Monday. Before these last 2 games, before yesterday's debacle and today.
And even today, the Yankees should be able to score in a regular game. The Yankees should be able to score more than 5 runs.
Well, as of Monday, after Monday, they were 40. They had 44 and 2/3 innings pitched. They had to an ERA of 1.61.
Yeah.
With 59 strikeouts and only 9 walks, and the opponent average was 154. So the bullpen was doing its job up through Monday. Yeah. So
the Yankees just aren't hitting with runners in scoring position, and their big guns are. I mean, look, again, it's Aaron Boone. I understand, but when you pay that much money for Gary Stanton, for Giancarlo Stanton, not only does
Gary
he not.
Stanton?
Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing. That's why
I was going to say combining the two people.
The same way.
Giancarlo Sanchez.
It saves on words. It's incredible how, not only can he not field the baseball anymore, but now he doesn't play every day. And so you're going to sit DJ LeMahieu and Stanton. I don't know. You got Sanchez hitting cleanup, which I think makes sense. Hicks is just off to probably the worst start I've ever seen him ever, and Gleyber Torres is just not hitting, and they're missing. Why you would start Jay Bruce at first and not DJ? I get it. You want to give DJ a break, but we're not that far into the season, guys.
Right.
You're 3.5. You're in last place, and. Jay Bruce is hitting 118.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I think maybe there's a little bit of how many games did we have last year?
60.
So how many games into the season are we now?
12.
So last year that would have been 20% of the season.
Yeah,
all I'm saying is
I think buying this.
No, I think we're still a little bit in that kind of a panic mode. We're 12 games in. There's 100 and how many games
more.
left?
Oh, I'm not panicking. I just
I'm not saying you are, but I hear a lot of it like, oh my God, this is the worst thing.
I just don't like the way Boone manages the pitching staff, and I don't like the way that there's a different lineup every day and everybody's moving around in the order, and I just don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And look, my concern is that the same thing that ended the season last year is happening again this year, is that the Yankees' big guns are not hitting with people on base. And their bullpen pitches 5, 6 really good innings. Right. And then, bam, they lose it at the end. And we finally won a Little League extra inning game the other day.
Yep,
which is great. But the Yankees, I think, have been in 3 extra inning games already this year and have lost 2 of them. And that does not help with their bullpen right now.
Well, here's the thing I don't understand. And I guess Kluber, I don't know, is kind of an exception. But we've talked about this already. How many innings? Did he pitch 4 innings because he was terrible?
Yeah.
Is that why it was only 4?
He pitched 4 innings and gave up 3 runs in those 4 innings, so he pulled them. So
he's thinking. What was the score at that point, though?
They were down.
They were down 3-2.
3-2. Yeah.
I don't know.
The good news about the Yankees bullpen is that the Yankees bullpen is doing fairly well. The bad news about that is it makes Boone go to them immediately, because these arms that they've paid money for in the offseason and taken a risk on, in Talion and Kluber and Herman's gone already, and who's up next? We don't even know who's going to start tomorrow. So their starting pitching experiment so far.
Mike Mussina starting tomorrow.
Well, that'd be great. Bring up Pettit, Mussina, and
who you need. You need Hope Troutwine.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's who you need.
That's the ticket right there.
And oh, by the way, the Red Sox are 8-3 after losing their first 3 games to the Orioles.
Yeah, they've gone 8-0.
And it's not time to panic, but 3.5 games, however many games in, 10 games in, that's not a good forecast for the season.
No.
Well, and how many wins they have against Toronto? What's the record against Toronto? They won 2.
Well, Toronto. No. Now they won
2 and 3, right?
2 and 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then they can't beat Toronto. They can't beat Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, Toronto's a good team.
Yeah, most of the East, actually, AL East looks really good.
And the Orioles aren't as bad as you think they were going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
The Orioles have a better record than the Yankees right now.
The Yankees are in last place in the division right now.
Yankees are in last place. So I'm not panicking. It's just, Judge hit 2 home runs today. All right, that's great. But man, for a while, up until 2 or 3 games ago, they were striking out at a rate that was just staggering.
Yeah.
Staggering.
It was crazy. I mean,
well, let's see. What tomorrow's a day off? Is that? I'm trying to. I don't like the way the schedule's laid
tomorrow,
out.
I believe, is a day off. Yeah, but here's some positives. Here's some positives.
And then you got the Rays. When do you finally play Boston?
I don't know.
It's coming up. I got to look.
The Rays next. Go ahead. I'll mutter under your while you're.
That's all right. Yeah. No. Here's some positives for you. Garrett Cole. Through 3 games that he's pitched, he has 29 strikeouts.
Cole's fantastic.
That's the most through 3 games in Yankees history.
I know.
So, so there's a bonus right there. Again, the bullpen has been doing its job.
Great.
The biggest problem you have is nobody's hitting the damn ball.
Nobody's hitting, especially with runners in scoring position.
Right. And that's something that every Met fan out there knows. And hopefully that changed yesterday. But
the Mets are doing okay. They're up again now to the Phillies. They
scratched out 2 runs in the beginning against Wheeler. Wheeler's pitching tonight for them. But David Peterson's pitching for the Mets, though, and he got shelled by the Phillies last week.
Well, the 2 best pitchers in baseball are in New York, and unfortunately, neither of them really have any help right now. Reliable help. Maybe the Mets a little better.
Well, yeah, I mean,
as second, third, and fourth options. Forget about 5th and 6th.
Yeah, yesterday they made a doubleheader because they had to cancel the game. They postponed the game on Monday too, but they played the doubleheader. Whatchamacallit? Walker. Excuse me.
Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker. Yeah. What the hell? Anyway,
I don't know what you're getting at.
yeah, Taiwan Walker. Thank you.
Taiwan, that's it.
Taiwan. There you go. Taiwan Walker. Pitched the first game and looked good. And Stroman pitched the second game and looked amazing.
Yeah.
Stroman really looked good. So,
Yeah, but Walker only went, 4 1/3?
Walker went 4 1/3. Stroman almost had the complete game. But they were pitching
4 1/3 in a 7-inning game is perfect.
4 1/3 is almost, it's 6 1/3 innings in a 7-inning game, in a 9-inning
Okay,
game.
but
So-
it's still 4 1/3 innings.
Montgomery looked good for the Yankees in his first start. Kluber looked good in his first start, and now the wheels are falling off.
And now the wheels.
And I can't believe they've given up on Herman already. I mean, so we don't have any pitching.
Did they bring King back up?
No.
Well, they sent Herman down.
Well, maybe they did bring
King
King back up. Well, I thought what's his name took his spot on the roster, didn't he? Rough Ned.
It's Rug. By the way, it's not Rough Ned. It's Rug Ned.
It's whatever.
It's Rugned.
And why do we need to know this? Why is Rugned there and not Tyler Wade? Why do we need a second base? Again,
you had Tyler Wade. I don't understand why you didn't.
What are the Yankees doing?
I don't know.
What are they doing?
Well, I mean, he did provide some offense on Sunday, right?
Well, he was good.
He was
First
good.
game in there.
Right.
Now he's hitting the
nubbed a little single
nubbed a CNI single, and he played some decent.
Look, the Yankees need a little bit more of that. I like when Brett Gardner is in there,
and they got him to shave too. I mean, you see him; he didn't even look like him. It was weird. But
and he didn't punch anyone.
And he didn't punch anyone.
And he didn't strike out 4 times.
Exactly.
I mean, Gary Stanton sometimes looks like he's just a rush to go sit down. Giancarlo Stanton.
Gary Stanton.
They're the same person.
I know.
Granted,
I like Giancarlo Sanchez.
I like how Sanchez is hitting 270 and oh my God, MVP. Yeah.
Just call Stanton Mike. It's Mike Stanton.
But, I mean, the good news is that Sanchez isn't striking out like he was last year. But Stan and Judge, up until a couple of days ago, just looked like they could not see the ball at all. No. I mean, just waving at pitches way out of the strike zone.
Horrible. It looked ridiculous. It did.
We got a day off, then 3 against Tampa Bay, then a day off, then a couple against the Braves, and then a nice 4-game set against the Indians, and then you get back to the Orioles. 4 against the Orioles. So
when they playing the Sox? So they're not playing the Sox at all in there?
Not this month.
Wow.
You got Detroit to.
They're really loading up the front end of the schedule. I mean, look out here, looking at the Rockies. I think the Rockies
Detroit,
the Dodgers 9 times already.
Yeah, the Astros, then the Nationals, then the Rays, then the Orioles, then the Rangers, White Sox, Blue Jays again, the Tigers, the Rays. I mean, we're talking June.
Before they see the Sox?
June 4th.
Is the first time they see the Red Sox. That's crazy.
That's not right.
That's insane. And the Mets are going to be in Colorado this weekend.
And it's going to snow.
Is it really?
Yeah.
They're going to get snowed out. They're going to get snowed out.
Well, probably. Are they there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. So Friday's
iffy.
Friday it'll be cold, but it might stop snowing before the game starts. Saturday it's supposed to probably snow before the game. But Sunday's game will probably be okay. But it's going to be 30 degrees when they play.
Crazy, yeah. That's insane. Yeah. But this will be the first trip that the Mets take out of the Eastern Time Zone since September of 2019.
Yeah.
So
good for them.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, you stayed close to home.
I mean, the Rockies have basically played the Dodgers. They've just been. I mean, I think they're playing the Dodgers again right now.
Yeah.
It is getting beat up by the Dodgers, other than winning on opening day.
And that's why I was looking at the Dodgers are 9-2. But I mean, the Dodgers are 9-2 because all they've been doing is playing the Rockies.
Right.
So I mean,
also
the Dodgers are also a pretty good team, and
but I mean, would they have been 9-2 if they were playing, equal teams? I mean, they might have been. They would have a decent record, but would they have been?
Let's see what the Rockies do after they play the Dodgers.
They would have been 8
and 3. 8-3. Maybe 7-4, but probably 8-3. Yeah, they probably.
A game is a game.
Game is a game. We'll see how the Mets respond this weekend to the cold weather out in Denver. But
let's see what the Mets got going on here. We got
the Mets got going on right now. There was
the Phillies.
Is it still 2-0 or
Phillies, Rockies, Cubs, the Nationals. Geez, the Mets play the Red Sox before the Yankees do.
Yeah, they do.
27th and 28th of this month.
Mets are playing the Red Sox on 2 weeks from today. They'll be playing.
And the Yankees are playing the Braves before the Mets do.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
So,
good scheduling.
Yeah, really good scheduling. Insane. But it's they've been looking better. The bats might be coming around. Nimmo is on a tear. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I mean, he's got not including the night. He's got 10 hits, 3 doubles, 4 runs batting in. He's got 8 walks, and he's batting he's got a .435 average right now. So he's on a tear. But hey, maybe he can give it up. They've been comparing him last couple of days. I've heard a lot of comparisons, batting wise, to hitting wise to John Olerud when he was on the Mets. So that's a decent.
Yeah,
Olerud
had a nice bat on the.
Didn't Olerud lead the league in hitting when he was with the Blue Jays?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Olerud gets overlooked. I mean, I know there's the one favorite Mets first baseman, but Olerud was a pretty damn good player.
Olerud's right behind Keith Hernandez in my book.
Yeah, only because I think
number one, but
only because I think his best years were at Toronto.
Yeah, they were.
Although he was good when he was with the Mets.
He was great. He was part of the. Hey, you know what? Still to this day, that was statistically the best infield in baseball history that the Mets had in 1999. John Olerud, Edgardo Alfonso, Ray Ordonez, and Pete's favorite person of all, Robin Ventura. So
what's wrong
again,
with
another guy who had his best years, previous to getting there. But
right, what was that, Pete?
What's wrong with Robin Ventura?
You had a couple issues with him back in the day.
Yeah,
just a few.
Whatever. Look, this is game 8, so I'm not comparing anybody.
Maybe not in 99, but like 2000, 2001. Different story for him. But in any event, McNeil's bat should come around. He's batting 150 right now, McNeil. But what's weird about that, as of yesterday, he still has the highest batting average in all of Major League Baseball from 2018 on. From 2018 through now, he's got the highest batting average. He's ahead of Mookie Betts and DJ LeMahieu.
Good for him.
So, but obviously that's due to fall a little bit if he doesn't start hitting. So, but
yeah. Well, and that, and what's the old saying? That and $1.50, you'll get him a ride on the subway.
Exactly.
Although I know the subway's not $1.50 anymore.
I got one thing I got one bone I want to pick, and the Mets, they've been playing better ball the last couple of days, last weekend and yesterday, obviously tonight so far, knock on wood. We'll see what happens with that. But I got one bone to pick. And this is just a throwback, harken back to, you want to call it, days of yore for the Mets, typical Mets. 3 players that were shipped out of town, basically. Wilson Ramos, Steven Matz, and Jed Lowry, who in 2 years took $24 million from the Mets or something like that and played 1 game. Wilson Ramos, as he showed signs here and there, but as not what the Mets needed at catcher. He's got 9 hits in 32 at bats right now. He's got a batting average of .281, but he's hit 6 home runs already in 7 games.
Well, then listen. There's a long list of guys who
I know.
Either were good and came to the Mets and not were good, and then went and then were not good and then went somewhere and were good, or started with the Mets and just never came down.
If you want to play that game,
I know.
There's a shortstop in Philly hitting .320.
I know.
Who can actually catch the ball and throw to first base.
I know. But he did good with the Yankees. These guys didn't.
Right.
With the Mets. This is my point.
Yeah, I got you.
Whatchamacallit? Jed Lowry played 1 game in 2 years, took $20-something million from the Mets, and did nothing for the Mets. In 7 games with the A's, he's hit 2 home runs, and he's got a .333 batting average.
Right. Almost forgotten about him.
Right. And Steven Matz, he pitched 2 games. He won 2 games. He's pitching to a 1.46 ERA.
Yeah, well,
what the hell? Change of scenery, I get it, but hey, you know what? Let's hope there's a lot of changes for the Mets.
The Mets are very, very good at 2 things. Hanging on to players who never really develop into anything close to what you're thinking.
Right.
And letting go of players before they have a chance to blossom. Mm-hmm. And part of that might be the change of scenery, but also part of that is the atmosphere of the Mets organization.
Where
those guys don't blossom. And they never will. and they go somewhere else, and they do.
And hopefully that will change. There's one thing got to add into that too: signing to big contracts players that are beyond their prime, and bring up a big zero on the Mets. Jason Bay. I could go on.
What do you? This is
what's that guy's name? Bobby something. How was his name?
Vanilla.
Vanilla. That's it.
Vanilla. Yeah, that's
Vanilla.
it. Yeah, like the wafer.
Right.
Bobby Vanilla Wafer.
Bobby Vanilla Wafer. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. What's he getting? 1.14 every year till
1.14
2089 or something.
They will still be paying Bobby Bonilla once Francisco Lindor's contract is done.
Yeah.
They'll still be paying him. Not only in another year or two, but still. Craziness.
But you were excited when they signed him.
Bobby Bonilla?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for about 5.3 seconds. And then he played his first game, and we're like, wow.
Yeah, I think after like 2 games, no one was excited anymore.
I still like what they did. Remember Scott and Todd on WPLJ? Scott and Todd in the morning. I still like Todd Pettengill used to do the parodies, and he did Maria from West Side Story. He did Bonilla, I just dropped the ball like Bonilla. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. Anyway. So.
Yeah, that was whatever. It's just there's so many things that
they lost 106 games that year. 93
laughing stock-esque.
Unbelievable.
I mean, there are bad moves and there are bad moves, and then there are moves that the Mets make. Hey, let me throw this one at you. You'll like this one.
Yeah.
Kazuo Matsui.
Yeah.
We're going to bring in the Japanese phenom. He's going to stink. We're going to ruin our best player and make him play a different position.
Right. Kaz Matsui. I think the Mets, what they did was they thought they were signing Hideki Matsui. But they signed Kaz Matsui instead.
God, terrible.
Hideki Matsui is an underrated player, man.
Yeah.
He single-handedly won that World Series.
I was going to say, he did win the MVP for the World Series.
And he deserved it.
Right. Although, I mean, Johnny Damon did a pretty damn good job in that World Series, too, though.
Damon was okay.
Hideki Matsui played better than him, but Damon wasn't too far behind him. Damon
won
another
6 or 7 really good games for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. And they were all in the World Series, basically.
I mean, he was okay.
Yeah,
he was okay.
So, he shaved his beard. His beard was his power, right?
I don't know what was his power.
The Yankees
sober. Anytime the Yankees get a ex-outfielder from the Red Sox, the last time that worked was Babe Ruth. Since then, it's been pretty miserable.
This is true.
You know what? Basically, anytime the Red Sox are ready to let someone go, that should be a symbol that you don't take them.
Well, Mookie Betts.
Right.
Okay, that's the
I want to point out one thing. I want to bring up one thing that we should have talked about right at the beginning. I want to congratulate Joe Musgrove for last Friday night. That no-hitter for the Padres, giving the Friars their first no-hitter. That was that was good. That was good. I watched that, and I was happy for him. That was sweet. That was nice. And he didn't walk any batter too. It was one hit by pitch. He didn't throw a ball at that batter. He'd had a perfect game. So. Well, you assume anyone.
Well, there you go. Keep it classy, San Diego.
Keep it classy. Keeping it classy. So, anyway, yeah.
Just another reason to love the Pods.
Just another reason to love the Padres. Absolutely. Yeah, going around. I mean, the Mets right now they're in first place. By their
percentage points.
By percentage points, yeah. Just above the Phillies. They win tonight. They'll be obviously a bit further, but. Reds are in first place in the Central. They're playing decent, and they're tied with the Brewers too. Dodgers obviously in first place in the West. It shocks me that the Yankees are actually. I mean, they're only. It's hard to say it anyway this time of the season. Anyway, we're 11 games in, 12 games in, and I mean, what's first place and last place? The difference is like 3 games.
Well, I mean, they're 12 games in, and they're 4 games out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Red there's a lot of parity in the league. There's a lot of teams right around 500, with the exception of the Red Sox, the Sox, Dodgers, Giants, and Padres.
And Angels.
Well, the Angels are what, 7-5?
7-5. So yeah.
I guess they're right around 500.
They're right around, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's early yet, but I think
it's a long season.
It's a long season. There's 150 more games to be played, so where we were. What did you say? We were 20% through the season at this point last year. Now we're 2% through the season.
But still, I guess I would say, comparing the two teams, I'd have more confidence in this group of Mets coming together and playing better baseball.
Yeah.
Than maybe this group of Yankees.
I think a good portion of the Yankees' bats will come around. I think Boone's going to have some tough decisions to be made. I think come the All-Star break, the Yankees are going to have a really tough decision to make on Gleyber Torres and potentially Aaron Hicks. And those are going to be some tough decisions. Because I gave Hicks a pass last year. He had a down year last year. Mm-hmm. But maybe he's on the decline. And then Torres is just...
They need a shortstop. They need a real shortstop.
I
said it before, and I'll say it again. It's obvious what's happening out in Colorado. I think that by the trade deadline, Trevor Story's in pinstripes.
And if he could play shortstop and then pitch every fourth game, that would be great.
Who knows? Give it a try. Give it a try. We'll see how that all plays out. But hey, stranger things have happened. So, should we go to our top 10 list early? What do you think?
Actually, I just want to mention one thing.
Sure, mention away. Go for it.
We've already mentioned one.
Not. I had my one thing.
Yeah, your one thing to mention.
All right, we'll give you a second.
Go for it.
All right. Maybe not one of the world's most favored people, but Joe West. I don't know if you read this, but filed a defamation lawsuit against Paul Lo Duca in 2019. Did you hear about this?
No, I haven't. Go ahead.
So basically, Lo Duca was complaining, and he was saying that West was shrinking his or expanding his strike zone when Billy West was pitching. In exchange for, let me see, I got it here, getting to drive a fancy car that West had. Not West, Billy Wagner. Suit was filed in October 2019.
Billy West is the guy who does the funny voices.
Yeah, he does the funny voices. So Lo Duca was on a podcast, and he accused Billy Wagner of bribing Joe West to get a bigger strike zone, and saying that Wagner let West use his 57 vintage Chevy to drive his car around, and then make the strike zone a little
larger.
So no, wait, this is when Paul Lo Duca is catching Billy Wagner at the time, but he's complaining. He's calling Billy Wagner out, saying what happened. That's what he's doing?
Let's see.
I mean, you're going back to when they were both on the Mets, right? And Lo Duca was catching Wagner?
Unless one's the umpire, I don't understand how it could possibly impact the game.
I mean, if Lo Duca is catching him, why would he shouldn't he be happy that the umpire's giving him a bigger strike zone?
You would think so.
You would think so, unless he's just calling him out because he wants to be a dick.
I don't know. It was a strange suit.
Does it say when? Like, had they moved on from being teammates at that point?
Well, the suit was filed in October 2019.
Right.
Oh, okay. So, and it happened. It doesn't say when the podcast happened.
I got you.
But it says the suit came from a podcast. Lo Duca accused Billy Wagner of bribing West to get a bigger strike zone.
I got you. So
Wagner let West use his Chevy to make the strike zone change when he was up at bat.
So it doesn't actually say that Paul Lo Duca was complaining about it. He just basically said.
He just said, "I think something funny was going on."
Right.
How is there a lawsuit?
It was
for defamation because he said something.
Wagner's got a lawsuit against.
I got you. Who the fuck cares?
No, West. It was Joe West.
Joe West has the lawsuit.
Who sued Paul Lo Duca. And
Billy Wagner probably just laughed at it.
He got $250,000 coming from past mental anguish and emotional distress, and $250,000 for compensation for fixing his reputation.
And did he get the car too?
I don't know. So there,
And he was awarded the car. He was awarded Billy Wagner's car too in the lawsuit.
and apparently Joe West is going to retire after the season.
Oh gee. Oh wow. He's got $500,000 in the bank. So why the hell not?
Yeah. So listen, a couple years in the making, but it finally paid off.
If he had brought that lawsuit against Angel Hernandez, then I would have been all over.
Well, yeah, there would have been a GoFund to pay the lawyers.
Exactly. Oh, that would have been funny. But that's really odd. I didn't see that. It's just really
he let West drive his car, and he made the strike zone bigger. And West says that's bullshit, and I'm going to sue you for saying it.
So Billy Wagner didn't have as many saves. Didn't really have as many saves as he should have had. As many saves as he did.
My question is, how many people were actually listening to that podcast? Because I sure as shit wouldn't care.
I didn't hear it.
And how many people would even give a shit about that? I mean, I think you're maybe the only person talking about this in the United States.
Well, we're groundbreaking right here on this podcast. We are actually, we're going to people.
But that's crazy. I mean, that is crazy to think that he won.
He won the lawsuit.
And
so LaDuca had to give him $500,000.
Yeah, that's who he sued.
Oh, crap. Oh my Lord!
I mean, you just like how. Listen, it's one thing to not understand much about the law. None of us are lawyers, but if you're Paul LaDuca, you got to know you can't just go on a public airwaves and say, oh yeah, he was bribing the guy by letting him use his car.
Damn.
I mean,
I think we get LaDuca on the show, and he can.
I think the only crime. I think the only crime there is that he should have gotten a lot more than just driving the car.
Just driving the car, yeah. You can. I'll give you the keys. I'll toss you the keys. You can drive the car around. Just give me a bigger strike zone. How much bigger was this strike zone? I mean,
don't know.
Again,
was he lenient on the corners, or was the ball like 5 miles outside and you called the strike?
If you still throw it too far outside, it's still a ball. It's not like. Yeah. It's not like he changed the tape on his Johnny Bench batter up.
Yeah,
he changed the box on the wall playing stickball. I mean, it's just
maybe brought out a special plate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That
would be scandalous.
The plate was bigger. It was
that'd be great.
And
also
weird.
once that West gets to use the car, like how do you? At what point does the other side of the equation get paid off?
Right.
You made it bigger, but I wanted it a little bit bigger than you didn't make it quite as much bigger as I wanted bigger.
So I told you could take the car. I told you take the car for 5 hours. You can only take it for 3.5 hours.
Well, once
it is a 57 Chevy too. So who paid for the $400 gas bill?
Once Joe West takes the car and drives the car, and then he goes, "Yeah, I made it bigger. You didn't see? He doesn't really have to do it."
Oh God!
What is the standard that gets agreed upon?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's crazy. I want to go back. Well, you know what is obviously okay. The defamation suit. It's still a defamation suit, but regardless of whether he did it or not, that wasn't the issue in the lawsuit. The issue in the lawsuit was defamation of character.
Yeah, it was the damage done by what he said, whether it was true or not. Yeah.
But I want to go back. I want to see these games in question. I want to actually see a couple of pitches from Wagner.
You go back and do that research there.
I want to do, Jim.
You go ahead and do
pull up some of that footage, will you? Yeah. Archive stuff, yeah.
And send it to me because I'm having a hard time sleeping lately.
Anyway, that's funny stuff.
By the way, I one other thing.
Sure,
that's my middle name.
I mentioned it's like the name of your book you said the other night, but I'll get to that in a minute.
That's almost, yeah.
Almost, yeah.
My book is almost.
Almost.
I mentioned the name before, Hope Troutwine. And look, I know it's softball. She's a pitcher for the University of North Texas. Mm-hmm. I know they, windmill, and it doesn't seem fair.
Right.
But her name is Hope Troutwine?
Hope Troutwine.
Troutwine. When you throw...
Sounds like a fishing and tackle shop and
it's only a 7-inning game. But when you face 21 batters,
so were both games of the Mets last year,
you strike out every single one of them, that's impressive, and that should be mentioned by somebody somewhere.
You know what? I
didn't hear about this. That's incredible.
But it really is.
I can't hit a windmill softball. I can't. I coached softball for years, and a couple of the better girls as they got older pitched to me. I couldn't come around on that ball. I could hit baseball 500 times easier than I could hit a windmill.
I thought the saying was you couldn't hit the side of a barn with a beach ball. Not
well,
you couldn't hit a windmill with a softball.
I couldn't hit a windmilled softball, windmill motion softball. There you go.
Yes.
So, I don't know if that's ever been done before. Oh no, here we go. Is the first pitcher in NCAA Division I softball history to strike out every batter in a 7-inning perfect game. It's also the first perfect game in the history of North Texas, the University of North Texas.
There was in Major League Baseball. It wasn't Major League Baseball. It was minor league baseball, professional baseball, I should say. One, it was back in the 50s, maybe. One pitcher had it wasn't an immaculate game, but it was 27 batters, faced 27 batters, 27 strikeouts. He did not one ball got put in play. It was 27 strikeouts. And it was in minor leagues. It was like AAA or AA or AAA back in like the 50s. I forget the guy's name.
I think somebody did that once in Little League, but he also had like 9 hit by batters. He either hit you in the head or struck you out.
Yeah. Well, obviously Troutwine is good. She's pitched 2 no-hitters before, one in 2018 and one in 2019.
That's crazy.
And this was...
I mean, I don't care if she pitches underhand for the Yankees.
This was, in fact, the 3rd time she has struck out 21 batters in a single game.
She's definitely better than Corey Kluber right now.
The first time was a perfect game. And she said, I felt bad for my teammates. It was kind of boring for them because all they were doing was watching me throw. She said they weren't really even fouling off the ball.
Next game, maybe she should just go out there, just her and the catcher.
There you go. Everybody else is sitting in the dugout and watch the game.
Well, I'd love to see her
stay home.
I'd like to see her throw out the first pitch, maybe about 10 times in a row.
Right, exactly.
Maybe
Corey Kluber can actually pitch underhand. Just do a windmill gun. Maybe that'll help. Maybe no. Who knows? We shall see. But
anyway, good for you, Hope Troutwine.
Good for you, Hope Troutwine. Cheers to you. Kudos to you.
Something
positive in
today's feel-good story is Hope Troutwine of the North Texas, jackasses. And
North Texas, is that the name? North Texas Jackasses.
I don't know.
North Texas team, but yeah, and hey,
it's only 2 other pitchers in NCAA history who've gotten 21 strikeouts in a game.
21 or 27?
21. 7 in a game.
7 innings.
7 in a game. But she's the first one to not allow any hits or anything else.
Gotcha.
It's a good thing it didn't go to extra innings. They have to put somebody at second base.
Fortunately, fortunately, her team was able to get some offense for her. They didn't DeGrom her.
Maybe they didn't DeGrom her.
12 innings.
Unbelievable. Yeah, watch the Mets now. Watch them tear it up tonight. They'll score like 100 runs tonight, and then the game on Friday or whatever. And the next time DeGrom pitches, 1 run, if that. Unbelievable. It's just really ridiculous that happens. I mean, what was it? 32 games now? Oh, no, because it was a blown save. The first game of the season they lost. He didn't. It was a no decision or whatever. It's 31 times. He's won 70 games 31 times. The bullpen has blown a win for him. So he would have had over 100 wins and countless numbers. I think it's in the 40s where 1-2 run games there was no run support. If they just had a little bit more run support, he could have won upwards of 40 other games. But it's just ridiculous. And yeah,
it's. I mean,
I still think we should combine the Yankees and Mets.
And he resigned.
Yeah,
DeGrom resigned. It's like it's got to get better, right?
Resigned. If I were him, I would put a hard Z on the S in that word resigned. I would resign, not resign.
He's gonna, with all the injuries the Nets have, he's gonna sign a 10-day contract with the Nets and play 2 guard.
Yeah, why not? He's tall enough. He's got a good jump shot, but
he's got a hell of an outlet pass.
It definitely does. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no one can catch it.
No one can catch it.
Can you just throw a straight ball and not a cutter on the outlet passes?
Maybe keep it down below 80.
Yeah.
Just imagine a basketball flying out.
Basketball coming in at 102 miles.
And we're all 6'11", so you have to go up in the strike zone.
Blake Griffin catches it and goes flying into the stands.
Well, Blake Griffin caught it because he was on the sidelines.
Well, that's what I mean. He caught it. But anyway, cool. Well, you know what? That's a story for another day. So we'll see what happens.
Was this the easiest top 10 list we've done?
This was pretty easy. In fact,
pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. Everybody that was on, there was a couple of differences between the lists, and whatchamacallit, and they all made it by virtue of ties, just coincidentally. So here we go. Let's
because Pete actually submitted his first and didn't have a chance to gerrymander it afterwards.
Said the guy who put 6 Yankee catchers on his list.
Oh, as opposed to your 4 Mets catchers.
Oh, there was 2. There was
and one of them was a
three. There was 3. There's 3 Mets catchers on this list, and there's 1, 2.
Yeah, but one doesn't count because he's on everyone's list.
And there's 4 Yankees catchers, 5 Yankees catchers.
Hey, I think I ranked some of the Mets catchers higher than you guys did.
I think
there's
you
4
did
Yankees.
Too, yeah.
There's 4 Yankees catchers, one, and you could call it a 5th for the 1/2 a season.
And I will tell you, it was basically a coin toss for my number 10. There was one Yankee in particular who I'm actually fond of, who I almost put as number 10. And
did he make it to the list anyway?
He made it to the list. He's on the list.
He's on the list. There you go. All right.
I mean, the Yankees and Mets have had some good catchers. What are you going to do? You know, I mean,
yeah, no, it's true.
Mm-hmm. They have.
It's
They have.
Currently the Yankees don't have one, but
currently. The Mets have a decent catcher. I don't think. James McCann is going to make it onto this list someday.
Higashioka is a very good defensive catcher, and he hit 2 home runs in his first game this year.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, he's the backup.
And did you notice?
He's the backup. Yeah.
And did you notice Garrett Cole was like, "All right, I've dealt with Sanchez already for 1 game, no more."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Boone, you had your fun.
Well, what I found
Skip, you had your fun.
What I found interesting about that was Aaron Boone, twisting himself through pressologic loops to try and explain, why Gary Sanchez is not going to catch Garrett Cole. Just come out and
just say he's not Kyle Higashioka's.
Don't say it was done. It was Higashioka's day. It wasn't. Come out and say it's happened before, right?
Right.
Lopez never caught Maddox.
Right.
Lopez never caught Maddox, and those guys are. I mean, Javi Lopez is a borderline Hall of Famer. I think he has really good numbers. AJ Burnett, not exactly the same caliber pitcher as Greg Maddux, but Posada never caught him.
No,
and that's just the way it was. And which apparently Jorge Posada is still pissed about it to this day, according to I think Michael.
That AJ Burnett didn't want him to catch him.
Yeah, well, what did AJ Burnett do?
Well, no, they're right. That's my point. He, why does he get to do that? Maybe he's not on that same echelon. But that's just the way it was. You sucked it up and you went on, and the manager came out.
It's because Posada called Burnett out on his bullshit, and he didn't like it.
Yeah. Right. So, but the manager would come out and say, "This is the guy who's going to catch this pitcher."
The reason why Cole doesn't want Sanchez is that he doesn't. Sanchez doesn't.
He's not very good defensively.
He's not a good catcher.
He's not. He's not
in the game for his defense.
I mean, did you see his attempted pickoff at first base the other day? I mean, not only did he throw it into right field, it was like the right field foul area by 8 feet. It just sort of like, I was like, what?
It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why?
Like
it makes no sense. It's just, how about you know what? If I were Boone, I would say, look,
were you watching
there's
Pudge
a pickoff
Rodriguez
play. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just hold the ball.
Yeah. Were you watching Pudge Rodriguez tapes?
Listen, I do feel kind of bad for Aaron Boone. There have been a few occasions where he's got to go in front of the media and just kind of spout some sort of bullshit.
I like Aaron
Boone. Come out and say. I think he's in a tough position.
I just don't think why? Who's controlling him? I think there's less control from the top than there's ever been with the Yankees right now. I just think he's buying into this. I have to, he's you don't
not think
Billy,
the word came down on high. We're going to go the analytics like everybody else is.
Right.
Because we're seeing it everywhere.
But is he? He's not Billy Bean. He's not. I mean, it's.
Well, he doesn't have that kind of a team.
It makes no sense.
Right, that's the problem. He's trying to manage analytically with a home runner strikeout team. That's not what sabermetrics is about. Sabermetrics is about get on base, get on base, get on base. Doesn't matter how you do it, get on base, and good things will happen. Well, this is not that team.
And the guy who's leading the team in stolen bases has only been on base because of being a pinch runner. Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't understand who they're playing and why they're not mixing it up more. I don't get it. I can't wait for Luke Voigt. I can't wait for Luke Voigt to be back.
Yeah,
so that we have a first baseman and another person in that lineup that maybe can hit the ball.
That team right now is built on solo home run after solo home run after solo home run after solo home run.
But not necessarily because they've been putting people on base, but they just can't drive them in.
Yeah, they're not getting the hit.
And it's almost
that's it, because they're not going to drive them in then. The only way they're going to score is solo home run after
by the way, the other thing is that this new start the runner on second base
is bullshit. It's complete.
How many guys have been thrown out at home plate already? I think half of them are Yankees. It's there's been like 7. I think there was 2 in one inning. There was 2 Yankees thrown out at home plate.
If you have competent hitters and there's a runner on second,
right.
Just two sack flies, and you got to run. Done.
Well,
you have to hit the ball.
I think listen, I think obviously they're sending them in situations they wouldn't normally, because if you don't get the run in with that single or whatever, if he only goes to third and you don't get that other hit, well, and the other team's going to have their runner on second.
Right.
So send them. Send them. Unless
Well, this is just dribbler. Runner. This is runner on third, ground ball to the left side. You got to go on it anyway, and I mean, just thrown out by 50 feet. Just it's.
Are you talking about the DJ LeMahieu when?
And also Judge getting thrown out at home, and who else got thrown? Was it Hicks or somebody else got thrown out at home? Just horrible.
That was horrible base running by Aaron Judge.
Let me ask you guys this: do you think this rule would be more palatable if maybe they didn't start it in the 10th? What if they started it in the 12th? What if they said, okay, we're still going to have extra innings, but if you guys don't finish this up by the 12th, we're going to start to move things along?
It'd be more palatable. I still wouldn't agree with it, but it would be more palatable.
I don't.
Maybe the 15th. Maybe you win another 7 innings.
When the NBA goes to overtime, nobody complains. They don't sit a guy on top of the rim blocking shots in overtime. They don't put a step stool next to the. They don't say
we got to get these games done faster. So we're going to position somebody on a ladder, and you just got to heave the ball to him, and he'll dump it in.
It's not the game that slows down the NBA. It's timeouts. Right. That's what makes the last 5 minutes of the game last.
I just don't buy. Minutes. I don't buy any of it. I hate it. I
think it's a terrible rule. I wonder if it might be. In other words,
if it's permanent,
that might almost give it a reason to exist.
I really think the Yankees
I would even do it later
games.
Innings, and I know I laughed and I scoffed when I said 15
I would say 13.
Something like that.
The Yankees have lost 2 games this year because of this rule.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is.
It's stupid. But play the game. You've already he put these rules in. Manfred put these rules in because he was saying it's safer. Okay, you're on the field a lot. Let's get these games done. So
what's safer? What is safer?
So you've been out on the field for 9 innings already. So what? So getting the games done within an inning or 2 quicker is going to be better, safer for you, pandemic-wise. It's stupid.
No, they want to get fans home at night. When the heat of the summer comes and every game starts at 7 p.m.
Well, when the fans start complaining about it instead of just Rob Manfred, then you do it.
Well, some people were complaining about it.
But it's baseball.
The 2 people.
Baseball.
The thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that love baseball, millions of people that love baseball.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The squeaky wheel.
People aren't clamoring, leave it alone until you make a change. Right. So the people that are clamoring, we need to make the game faster.
I need to get home.
I need to get home. They're already home.
Go home.
Everybody's home. Everybody's home.
I'm not keeping you here.
Kids.
Go.
They're worried about young kids.
Fuck them. Go home.
I agree. It's baseball.
Look,
stay up.
Let them stay up.
Don't do it every night. Let them stay up once.
Young kids don't have a problem. The young kids don't have a problem with it.
No, but I'm saying, staying up late for an extra inning game, and then you got to go to school
I
the
did.
next day.
Was it a problem?
I know. We all did. We also rode down gigantic hills on bicycles.
Or you go to sleep and you
helmet,
find out at 1 in the morning. Who cares?
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm just saying
7-inning doubleheader.
Yeah, that's
why are there so many doubleheaders already too? I don't understand.
They threw the double. All the doubleheaders already have been because of postponements, because of rain or cold or
COVID
or
the Nationals
dinner, whatever it was. It just, but in any event,
all right.
I digress.
All right, whatever.
That's one. Whatchamacallit?
Top 10?
Had to say it. Yes, the top 10 list. Top 10 catchers in MLB history right there. So this is our list. We'll keep doing it like we've been. I will read them off, and we will go from there. Here we go. All right. We have 12 catchers on our top 10 list, of course, tonight. We have 2 ties. It's a tie for 4th and a tie for 10th. So we're going to start with 10B. 10B is going to be Gabby Hartnett. Gabby Hartnett, folks.
Was she a U.S. Olympic gymnast?
She was.
He's a cabaret singer in the USO.
I'll be honest, I did not know this one.
His name is actually Charles Leo Gabby was his nickname. Charles Leo Hartnett.
I learned something new every day.
He played from 1921 to 1922 to 1941, mostly with the Cubs. I think there was 1 year at the end there with the Giants. 1,912 hits, 1,179 RBIs, 236 home runs, career batting average of 297, and a 56.9 WAR, wins above replacement. So, Gabby Hartnett. Pete?
Yeah, he was my number 10, and Munson was the guy that I was alternating back and forth with, but Hartnett for me, but it was the home runs that put it over. And
you had the Gabby Hartnett poster on your wall as a kid, didn't you?
There you go.
Actually, it's rolled up right here on the shelf somewhere. It was really almost literally a coin toss. But those home runs and that just under 300 average.
The last 2 years that he was on the Cubs before he went and played with the Giants for a year, he was actually last 3 years. He was actually the manager of the Cubs too.
Yeah,
38, 9, and 40. But yeah, there you go. Number 10B, Gabby Hartnett.
And listen, it was a tough choice because I'm not a big fan of. I don't pick probably as many guys from way back in the day as
100 years ago.
I usually choose more modern players. So
gotcha.
He was darn.
It was a good choice. It was a good choice.
He was darn
Gabby
good.
Hartnett was a good catch.
I like it.
And I'm glad. Not spoiler alert. I'm glad Munson got on the list also.
There you go. Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
No worries.
I won't tell you what spot he's in.
No, you won't say it. So we'll go to 10A right now. 10A is Mr. Hip Jorge Posada. Played with the Yankees his whole career, 95 through 2011. He had 1,664 hits, 1,065 RBIs, 275 home runs, career batting average of 273, and he finished his career with 42.7 wins above replacement. So.
And how many World Series championships?
That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, not 11. 5. So, Jorge Posada. Jorge Rafael Posada Villeta is actually his full entire name.
Yes, that was on his solo album.
Yeah. Actually, I take that back. He was not
on four championships.
Four championships. Yeah, he was not actually on the team for the 96 World Series.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make my list. If he'd
that damn Girardi kept him off the.
Look, you take away Posada. You look at Posada's really, they always say the best 5 years and right. He was an above 300 hitter, which at the time, other than Joe Mauer, there was very little. You never saw a catcher do that, and he was a hell of a defensive catcher, and he was clutch. He was clutch, much like Bernie Williams, and he was just a clutch guy. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what,
because I hated him.
He was kind of a quiet guy with the press. He wasn't but he was tough, and man, could he control that pitching staff.
Yeah.
And I think I could outrun him from home to first. He was the slowest guy I think I've ever seen run the bases. but he was a hell of a catcher.
He was. Yes, he was.
And really much better defensively, especially throwing people out, trying to steal than people give him credit for.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever got quite as much of the star recognition that he deserved while he was playing. But
I think other than Jeter and Rivera, a lot of those Yankees didn't. I mean, look at Bernie Williams. Look at Paul O'Neill.
You say Cheetah Rivera?
Except for Cheetah Rivera.
Cheetah Rivera.
But the thing about Posada, though, was like everybody knew he was just solid, because he was so clutch. And it wasn't
that was
just
those Yankees teams.
Yeah. But he was
solid.
Just like, oh, yeah, Posada, he's great. But maybe they didn't realize quite how great he was.
Other than Chuck Knobloch, they were all pretty solid.
And he was a Gold Glove in
he got the yips bad.
Gold Glove, but a lead arm.
Unbelievable.
He could get to the ball, he just couldn't throw it.
Couldn't throw it, right?
I'll still take him right now and put him at church.
What is that movie where the kid breaks his arm and then he can throw the ball 99
rookie of the year?
And then it goes out, and he's like running his glove over to first base. He can't throw.
He can't throw the ball.
He was not blocking it.
He was not blocking it. Yeah. Hey, Knobloch.
One of the best names ever.
Knobloch. Chuck Knobloch. There you go. Anyway, back to Jorge. Number 10A, Jorge Posada. There we go. All right, that brings us to number 9. Number 9 would have been the spoiler alert that Pete said before, is Mr. Thurman Munson. Thurman Lee Munson.
The captain.
The captain. Yes, he was. He was Yankees' whole career, 69 through 79, unfortunately, only through 79. 1,558 hits, 701 RBIs, 113 home runs. Those would have definitely been much higher. Career batting average of 292 and 46.1 wins above replacement. Harry, I know you're going to want to speak on.
It's my favorite. I mean, look, I think I've cried twice in my life. Once when Thurman Munson died, and once when the Knicks traded Charles Oakley for Marcus Camby. Yeah. He was, unfortunately, his career was cut short. He was, I think one of the best catchers ever, without a doubt. And I think had he played 3 or 4 or 5 more years, he might be number 2 or 3 on this list.
Yeah, definitely.
And you could argue about numbers, and there's some modern day players who certainly hit for better average, but he played at a time when, look, he also caught behind the plate when the Yankees had some incredible pitchers. And it was not to be lost that the reason why that pitching staff was so good was because had a lot to do with Munson. And he was a clutch guy. He was, I always said that those Yankees teams had 2 people that dictated the personality. One was Jackson, the other was Munson. Yeah. And the press tried to pit them against each other, but they actually wound up becoming pretty good friends. Yeah. And they were both big reasons why those Yankees teams were so good in the late 70s. And the fact that it still just boggles my mind that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Yes, I realize, we're going to talk about another guy on this list who played maybe 2 guys on this list that played the same amount of seasons as Munson did. Mm-hmm. And the argument is always his career was too truncated. Well, come on.
Yeah.
And look, he was a blue collar guy. He was too fat, too slow, too this, too that, and yet he was a guy who just every time he turned around had some sort of clutch hit and was literally knocking people out of the baseline when they're at home plate. So.
Yeah.
Great big stash too.
And I think for a generation of Yankee fans, you can talk about the Mantles and DiMaggios for people that are in our father's era, and you could talk about people the Jeters and those folks. But other than Reggie Jackson, this guy, if you were a Yankees fan around this time, he was your guy. Yeah, he was your guy. And he was I think the 3rd captain or 4th captain of the Yankees. And look, there's a long line of great Yankee catchers, but
yeah,
he was amazing.
Yeah,
and it was a sad day when
he was the first captain when he was nominated captain. He was the first captain since Lou Gehrig. There's no one in between.
Yeah.
And you talk about handling that pitching staff. That there was no one calling pitches from the dugout back in the.
No.
He was telling
Sparky
those
Lyle, ask Ron Guidry, ask Goose Gossage.
He was telling those guys what to throw. Yeah.
So, there you go.
And he wasn't taking days off, or
no, he wasn't.
He was.
I remember actually. Here's a little, just a flash memory, because my dad was a Yankee fan, and I went to a game with him, and a couple of his buddies or whatever. So brings his kid, and I think the Yankees were losing, and Munson was up, and there were a couple of runners on base, and I hadn't said anything. Right. The men were talking and smoking cigars or whatever. Sure. I was, I don't know, 12 maybe or whatever. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I just wanted Thurman Munson to get a hit. And we had pretty good seats. I don't think he could hear me, but so here's this little me that say nothing, and all of a sudden, come on, Munson! And my dad looks down at me and he goes, "That's the first thing you said the whole game." And I'm like, well. So he was just, and I don't know, from that moment, he was one of those Yankees that I actually really liked. So
yeah, I'm glad I got to get to see a couple of games, when I was a kid. That he was in,
Yeah, and that was the only game I ever went to, to see the Yankees with my dad.
Yeah. So. There you go. All right, number 9, Mr. Thurman Lee Munson. There you go. All right, well, sticking with the Yankees theme for the last couple. Number 8, Mr. Bill Dickey. Ironically, that's his uniform number 2. Bill Dickey played for the Yankees from 28 to 46, 1,969 hits, 1,209 RBIs, 202 home runs, career batting average of .313, and 57.2 wins above replacement. Mr. William Malcolm Dickey.
And didn't he play in 11 World Series or something like that?
He played 7. He was 7-time World Series champion. Yeah, he probably played in 4 or 5 others. Yeah, so probably played in about 11 or 12 World Series.
Yeah,
because they lost a couple of those.
313 is impressive. Over 200 home runs.
Yeah,
absolutely.
6,300 at bats.
Yep.
Yeah, he was around a long time. I mean, 18 years back then was a long career.
It was. It definitely was.
And he missed a couple years because of the war.
Yeah.
44 and 45.
He did, yeah, so. 2 years. 2 years. He was like 30. He was in his mid to late 30s, and he went to armed services.
Yeah.
But
these guys, went to war, and nowadays we have load management.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. These guys, I'm going to take a couple years off from playing baseball, and I'm going to go to war.
I'm going to go to World War II or the Korean War.
I'm going to take a couple of days off and eat a sandwich while you guys.
I'm going to update my Instagram page.
Unbelievable. But it's sad but true though. That's the ironic part about it. But yeah, Bill Dickey, great catcher for the Yankees, and one of 2 Yankees to have the same number retired for them in their honor. So,
nice.
But there you go, number 8, Mr. Bill Dickey. Let's shift it over to the Mets for a bit, huh? Number 7, the kid, Gary Carter. Gary Edmund Carter, to be exact. Gary Carter played for several different teams from 74 to 92. He played for the Expos first, and he was on the Mets for the appropriate right time to be on the Mets, for sure. And he went to the Giants, Dodgers, and back to the Expos before he retired. But he
you remember him as an Expo and a Met.
You remember as an Expo and a Met, absolutely. Yeah. But 74 to 92, 2,092 hits, 1,225 RBIs, 324 home runs. Career batting average of .262, and on this list, the second best wins above replacement record of 70.1.
Gary 39 stolen bases.
39 stolen bases. Yep. So just an amazing catcher, and you never forget the scene of the end of Game 7 of the '86 World Series with Jesse Orosco throwing his mitt up in the air and Gary Carter coming out and just picking him up and insanity ensued. But just a great catcher for the Mets and the Expos.
He was good with the Mets. He was great. But
he was great with the
Expos.
He was
clutch for them in that '86
season. He was clutch with the Expos and the Mets.
With the Expos, he was. I mean, those Expos teams, because wasn't he on the Expos at the same time Andre Dawson was?
Dawson was, yeah.
I mean, they were a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were. They were really good.
And but yeah, he's
11-time All-Star.
Yeah.
When he came to the Mets, I didn't realize he was. I knew his name, but I didn't realize he was as good as he was.
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Oh no, this guy."
They made the right moves.
This guy's a freaking all-star.
I just remember he could never get a batting helmet to stay on him, though. It just seemed like his helmet was always falling off.
Yeah, it was.
Well, he had that big gazoo.
Big Sammy Hagar hair.
Yeah.
They made right, Sammy Hagar. They made he looked a little like Sammy Hagar too.
Yeah.
But they definitely made the right moves back then. The Mets, bringing Carter in, bringing Hernandez in, bringing Gooden up.
Because Hernandez was on the Cardinals, right?
Hernandez was on the Cardinals, and they brought him over. And then whatchamacallit? I don't think
wasn't Orosco on another team too.
I brought some pitching in. And they put the right team together at the right time is what they did.
Bill Buckner helped.
And obviously, but the Mets were a better team than the Red Sox that year.
I think the Angels were a better team than the Red Sox that year.
Yeah, and I honestly think that
would have been a great World Series. As the Angel, that Angels team was a hell of a team.
Yeah, it was.
What's his name? Actually, wound up killing himself over that. The reliever Moore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, it was just a good time then. So, but there he is, number 7, the kid, Gary Carter, right there. All right, we'll move on to number 6, and again, we'll stay with the Mets theme. Number 6 on our list is Mr. Mike Piazza, Michael Joseph Piazza. He played for the Dodgers first, and then the Mets, pretty much. I think he was
one of the first big contracts.
Big, huge, yeah. He had the biggest contract when he signed that 7-year, $91 million contract. That was the biggest contract in Major League Baseball history.
Now the Dodgers are doing it in reverse for everybody.
Exactly. But the Dodgers and Mets, obviously. Mets longer than the Dodgers by a year or two. And then he floated around after that. I think it was actually on the Marlins in between the Dodgers and the Mets for like a week.
Yeah.
A couple games, But, he 2,127 hits, 1,335 RBIs, the most home runs by any catcher in Major League Baseball history, 427. Career batting average of .308. That's the second best batting average on our list tonight, and 59.5 wins above replacement. Mike Piazza. When the Mets made that deal, when Steve, what's his face, made that deal, and they traded for Mike Piazza, and they didn't trade with the Dodgers. Obviously, they traded with the Marlins, and brought him up. That was great. It was May of '98, if I recall.
Yeah, and that deal was panned. I don't remember the particulars of it, but that was considered a steal. I think
it was a steal. They stole him from the Marlins. Because the Marlins did what they do every time they went. They won the World Series the year before, and they were cleaning house.
Yeah, nobody shows up.
They won, and we're not going to win it again.
The next year, and then they just get rid of everybody. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So they were they cleaned house by bringing him in because the Dodgers were getting rid of him, and then they cleaned house again by sending him to the Mets. So and then they signed the contract the year after that, obviously with the $91 million. But yeah, I mean, he was talk about clutch. I mean, not to take anything away from Gary Carter, but Mike Piazza was just when you needed a hit, he got it.
He was just consistent. He was one of the most consistent
Absolutely.
hitters. I mean, he didn't have a big example of postseason play. I mean, it wasn't as if he had a ton. I mean, I guess he did play Did he ever play in the postseason with the Dodgers?
I think it was a couple of years.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
But no World Series. So
no World Series.
His only World Series was 2000 with the
2000 with the
Series.
Mets, and they got to he got to the postseason often with the Mets,
Right.
probably 3 or 4 times, but 3 times actually. But the year before was insane. I mean, the Mets had as good as they were in 2000, they were better in '99, and I still blame Kenny Rogers and Bobby V for keeping him in there. Intentionally walking the bases loaded, and they walked in the winning run in extra innings there. But
that was a big year for him.
That was 99 was a big year, and then
that's probably his best. I mean, 40 home runs, 124 RBIs.
The only dig on Piazza is that I would say he was a pretty significantly below average defensive catcher. I mean, he wasn't horrible, but I could steal a base. And he wasn't great sometimes with managing the pitching staff, but he also I don't think he was a detriment. Put it that way. You didn't notice it too much.
No, well, his offense overcame a lot. Yeah, I mean that was. It was definitely more of an advantage.
Playing first base later in his career too, right?
Yeah, it was more of an advantage to have him in there hitting. You're going to get more positive out of that than the negative you were going to get from his lack of defense. Yeah, and I don't think he was. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't.
He wasn't terrible, but there were moments when
he was serviceable, and
he was serviceable.
Yeah. It was in the end of his career. When he left the Mets after the 2005 season, he went to the Padres for a year.
Played first base.
Played first base a little bit, and then he went to the Oakland A's, and he was DH, obviously.
Yeah.
But
that's right. He was with the A's.
He was with the A's for a year, and just amazing. And then you can't forget that first game back for baseball after 9/11, and he hit the game-winning 2-run home run to win it for the Mets. And even the Braves, let alone Braves fans, even the Braves in the field were happy. For him that day. It was just what it was.
His greatest failing was not kicking the shit out of Roger Clemens.
Oh.
He probably would have gotten his ass beat anyway.
Good luck.
Clemens was
his career numbers would have been better because his career would have been shortened by 10 years.
Yeah. So, geez, at least throw that piece of the bat right back at him.
He was
pick it up and rich him.
Yeah, I mean, you saw his face turn ghost white. He was just like, all right, I might be tough, but I am not messing with this guy right now. I mean, that was kind of
the roid rage in his. It
was kind of the turning point in
the eyes.
It was kind of the turning point in that series in a lot of ways. I mean, Clemens was pretty dominant.
And the Mets should have the Mets should have won game.
They were a better team that year. I would say there was other years where the Mets had a good run there with Piazza, and obviously, people wanted it. It wasn't the series that everybody maybe was hoping for, but I also think it was just. I think the Yankees were a better team that year.
Yeah, no, they were the better team, but the Mets weren't too far behind them. I mean, they weren't the better team by much. No, but the Mets should have won that first game. I mean, Benitez blew that.
Well, and the Yankees at that point had an awful lot of successful postseason experience.
It might have gone 6 games, and they could have won it 4-2. It could have won it 4-3. It could have gone 7. That game it was the second game that Clemens pitched, right? And the first game, the Mets, Armando Benitez blew the game. The Mets should have won that. That set the tone as much as Clemens the next day did.
Well, Benitez, sure.
Yeah.
But in any event.
I just think the Yankees had better. I mean, with Pettit and Clemens, Yankees just had better postseason pitchers. And obviously they had a better closer. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that Mets team was arguably better than some of the teams, the team that in '86 that won the World Series. So.
Sure. Yeah, no, that definitely was. And whatchamacallit, don't forget one of the members of the pitching staff on the Mets that year. I think the year before too. I think it was 99, 2000. His son is a Super Bowl MVP a couple of years ago too. So,
true, right? That's crazy.
Pat Mahomes Sr. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. And did you hear that story? I think we talked.
He
about
didn't have quite as much success.
No. Pat Mahomes' father. No, he didn't. Not
No,
but
really.
I'm sure he'll tell you he's happy. Either way,
I'm sure
but,
he is.
He was at when he was playing. I guess he was playing at Houston, maybe, or Texas. He was in Texas. Whether it was which teams, the Rangers, the Astros, but he was at a ballpark and he was sitting at one of the games that Pat Mahomes wasn't playing in. And Patrick Mahomes, young Patrick Mahomes, I guess he was probably 5 or 6 or something like that, was sitting there, and somebody came up and got Pat Mahomes' autograph. And then asked Patrick Mahomes, "Hey, will you give me your autograph too?" And Patrick Mahomes signed it. So that's the first known autograph of Patrick Mahomes. It's pretty funny, but anyway, number 6 on our list, Michael Joseph Piazza. There we go. All right, let's move on to number 5. Number 5, Mickey Cochran.
Isn't he the lead singer of Red Rider?
Mickey Cochran, yes.
Life is a highway, right?
Life is a highway, right? And
Lunatic Fringe.
Lunatic Fringe. Yeah,
that's one of my
You're out there.
And a hell of a catcher. And a hell of a catcher.
He did it all.
Yeah.
George Stanley Cochran. Mickey was his nickname. Which also had a nickname. He was nicknamed Black Mike too. I'm not sure the background on that, but that was one of his nicknames. Anyway. Mickey Cochran played from 1925 to 1937, most of the years with about half, a little bit more than half with the Philadelphia Athletics, prior to them moving to Kansas City and then ultimately to Oakland. And then a few years at the end of his career with the Tigers. He hit 1,652 hits, 830 RBIs, 119 home runs. He holds the highest batting average on our list, career batting average at 320. And also 49.2 wins above replacement. He was manager of the Tigers while he was a player on the Tigers too.
Wasn't he also like a general or something in the Army or Air Force? Or, I don't know. I thought I remember reading that somewhere.
He was he served in the Navy.
Okay.
He was a lieutenant.
Okay.
Yeah, in World War II. After he finished, he left. He left baseball and went to World War II. He was a lieutenant in the Navy.
Three-time World Series champion.
Yep.
Won the Triple Crown, including the Kentucky Derby.
Most valuable player in 1928 and 1934.
Yeah. Won the World Series twice with the A's and once with the Tigers. Philadelphia A's. So, but just another one of these old school.
Well, they're old when their baseball card or their portrait on Wikipedia is a cartoon.
They didn't have cameras around back then.
It's a portrait. It's a good portrait.
It's a portrait. It was painted by Norman Rockwell.
That's right.
And then
that was actually way before Rockwell.
Yeah, it was cover of the Saturday Evening Post. Yeah. But anyway, number 5, Mickey Cochran. Let's move on to number 4B, Campy, Roy Campanella. Mr. Campy himself. He played from 48 to 57, all with the Giants. What do we call it? The
Dodgers.
No, the Negro Leagues. He played with the Washington Baltimore Giants, and then he played 48 to 57. He played with the Brooklyn Dodgers. 1,161 hits, 856 RBIs. 242 home runs, career batting average of 276, and 35.6 wins above replacement.
And 25 stolen bases.
25
three-time MVP.
Yep, 51, 53, and 55. National League RBI leader in 53 as well. And Dodgers retired his 39.
142 RBIs that year. That's ridiculous.
142 RBIs. And and that was they weren't, it wasn't big ball, it was small ball then, so it was just, scratching them out, driving them runs in. So that's a feat though, 142 RBIs. But yep, there he is, Mr. Roy Campanella. Campy is number 4B on our list. Number 4A, the original Pudge, Carlton Fisk. Carlton Ernest Fisk played for the Red Sox in the beginning of his career and finished up with the White Sox. Played from 69 to 93. Long career. 2,356 hits, 1,330 RBIs, 376 home runs, a career batting average of 269, and 68.4 wins above replacement.
And 128 stolen bases.
128 stolen bases. There you go.
Over 8,700 at bats. That's ridiculous.
Like the picture, just keep thinking of it was the 75 World Series when he hit the ball and he wanted to make sure it was, didn't go foul.
Yeah.
But, the original Pudge.
11-time All-Star.
Yeah. 11-time
Yeah, this
All-Star.
is a guy that I had put on the list. I sort of, kind of jotted down my list and then began looking at numbers and such. And I had to move him up a couple of spots. He was.
Well, this was the era. I mean, this was the era of the catcher. I mean, you had Fisk and Munson, and I mean, there was a lot of really good catchers and tough. I mean, being a Yankees fan, Carlton Fisk was kind of easy to hate. He just had that. He just looked like he was from Worcester.
Yeah, he had that.
He just had that. Yeah, that kind of.
That Yankees
Northern
Massachusetts
Massachusetts
guy look about him.
Yeah.
He's actually from Vermont originally.
Well, I mean,
just a face you wanted to punch.
Yeah,
a face a mother could love. Is that what you're saying? But no, Carlton Fisk was such a great catcher. And he played most of his career with the. Actually, about half, 50-50. First half of his career with the Red Sox. And
81 to 93 with the White Sox.
Long career with the White Sox after he left the Red
You
Sox.
forget that. But then now that I think about it, it's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was out there, Fisk. The Commander was another nickname. But there you go. Number 4A, Mr. Carlton Fisk. All right, that'll bring us to number 3. Number 3 is the newer Pudge, Ivan Rodriguez. The numbers he played 1991 through 2011. He played on about 75 teams, I think.
He did move around a lot. I think of him as a Ranger. I don't know.
He was a Ranger. He was for first 12 seasons. He was a Ranger. Then it was a season on the Marlins. Then it was 5 seasons on the Tigers. 5 seasons on the Tigers. He lasted for a while.
5 years with Detroit. Which was the longest other tenure. So
and did he
more
win?
than twice as long?
He won the World Series with the Marlins. Right?
He won the World Series with the Marlins in 2003. Yeah. Then he was
came close with the Yankees, and I hated that the Yankees got rid of him.
Yankees for half a season, they got rid of him. Went to the Astros for a year, half a year, and then the Rangers for half a year. Back to the Rangers for half a year, and then he finished his career up with the Nationals for two seasons in 2010 and 11. But he has the highest number of hits of any catcher on our list. 2,844 hits, 1,332 RBIs, 311 home runs. Career batting average of 296 and 68.7 wins above replacement.
And I would argue maybe, and this might be a little controversial, I think he's the best defensive catcher to ever play the game.
He's definitely. I mean, if you don't put him there, he's in the top 2.
Yeah, but I mean, just a monster, and he did it for a long time. It's God.
He did.
And 927 stolen bases.
That's right.
And what's funny is on
picture him stealing a base.
Doesn't that seem? And look, compare. I don't know what the number is, but take that number and add it to how many guys did he gun down?
Yeah,
trying to take second. You probably in the 300s, maybe. I don't know.
He had the quickest mass flip arm throw. I mean, there was a lot of times when the pitcher was still, I feel like, still finishing his motion when he was throwing it down to second base. It's like, you better, if you're pitching and there's a guy on first, after that pitch is over, you better stay down.
Yeah, right.
Because he doesn't care. He's going to throw it through you if he has to.
991 fielding percentage.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
He
seems like he just gobbled up foul balls in the behind home plate and in the foul territory.
Yeah. He got his nickname Pudge, obviously, even though Carlton Fisk was Pudge as well. Just one of the coaches on the Rangers when he was first there. I guess the minor leagues saw he was short and stocky, so from day one, guys started calling him Pudge. So it wasn't like he was, catching like Carlton Fisk did. So they just transferred the nickname, but it was just his size and his stature. But ironically, and I love this stat, on June 17th, 2009, Rodriguez set a Major League Baseball record by catching his 2,227th game, passing Carlton Fisk, who was also Pudge. I just thought it was funny. Pudge passes Pudge. That should have been the headline.
And didn't they open up the pizza joint together, Pudge Brothers?
Pudge Brothers, yeah, absolutely. As the Pudgy, they have dessert too. They have Pudgy the Whale.
He's like Cookie Opus, but he's got a catcher's mask.
He's got a catcher's mask instead. Exactly. Right. Exactly. So there you go. All right.
Pudgy the Whale.
Pudgy the Whale. Pudgy the Whale. There you go. All right. Number 3. Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. That brings us to number 2. Number 2 on our list is Mr. Johnny Bench. Johnny Lee Bench, to be exact. He's played 67 through 83. Played for the Cincinnati Reds his whole entire career.
Sorry, can I stop you just for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I was looking for the numbers.
How many stolen bases?
Caught stealing percentage for Pudge Rodriguez was 46%. Stolen bases allowed 786. Caught stealing 661.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Add that. So I was way off adding that to his stolen bases.
Yeah.
You'd have 788 would be the total if you add those two numbers. I thought in the 400. 661 caught stealing, which was nearly half, 46%.
That's crazy. Unbelievable.
Which is, Bench was 43, Molina 44, Campy was 57. So I guess that's about number 2 on the list all time.
Probably number
2. Yogi was 49. So
there you go. So number 3 on the list.
Number 3, yeah.
Number 3 on the list.
All right, sorry.
There you go.
Sorry, Johnny.
No, that's all right. Sorry, Johnny. Not me. Johnny Bench you're talking about.
No, Johnny Bench, yeah.
Right, exactly. Johnny Bench there. 67 again, 67 through 83 on the Cincinnati Reds. 2,048 hits. Highest number of RBIs on our list tonight with 1,376. 389 home runs. That's the second most home runs on our list behind Mr. Piazza. Career batting average of 267, and he also had the highest wins above replacement on our list. Numbers staggering, 75.1 wins above replacement. So, yeah, Johnny Bench was you thought catcher, when we were kids anyway, you thought catcher, you thought Johnny Bench. And there were others too, but that was like the other than the team you were a fan of, if you will. But Johnny Bench was just
Well, and the only person on this list who had a child's toy in his name that probably caused more accidents than any other.
Yeah, you could say that.
Here's a ball on a string with a bat. Go for it, kids.
Go for it. Yeah, hit it. See what happens after you hit it. Go ahead.
It was that one time when that ball just dislocated and that batter up.
Yeah, there really were. You could hurt yourself with a pitchback.
Oh yeah,
or the
the pitchback wasn't named after Johnny Bench too, was it? Was there somebody else that did the pitchbach?
I don't remember
just the
pitchback. I think it was just the pitchback.
It was just the pitchback.
But I Johnny Bench batter up. Yeah.
Now, which one was that?
I had the Two Guys brand of the batter up, which was called "Watch the Fuck Out."
I had the
it had a concrete block that held it in place.
Yeah,
right.
And there was some twine and a baseball.
Oh no, I had the other one. Same thing. It was a wheel of concrete, and it was a pole that came out of it.
Yeah.
And it had an arm with the ball on the end that was on a spring.
Yeah.
So you'd hit the ball, and it would go around and wind up the spring, and then it would come back.
It hit you in the nuts.
And the harder you hit it the first time, the harder it would come back, and it would get faster and faster.
Yeah.
And if you got too close to it, we used to manually wind that thing up. Just, to the breaking point.
Just put it till it's not going to go anymore. All right, you ready?
Until it's either going to break. And then we would let it go, and it would start to spin, and then someone else would have to step in front of it at some point. Like you'd stick your ass in front of it and see.
Right. Well, what we used to do is we used to combine that with the sit and spin, and so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, that and the
plenty of dizzy kids over at Morgan
remember
Place.
Remember the little
you can't get a ball in the head.
Remember the Mr. Quarterback?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The little thing on the ground, he'd set it and it would throw. Boy,
I never had
rocks and bottles and stuff you could put in that thing.
Yeah, it was basically like a slingshot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was you guys fans?
I mean, throw lawn darts and you got yourself a party.
Throwing lawn darts and you got yourself a party.
We had jarts when I was a kid. Yeah,
of course, everybody did. Yeah.
There's
no fun
Joel. You know who Joel Hodgson is?
Yes,
he was the original from Mystery Science Theater 3000,
and
also a stand-up comedian. He used to do a great bit with a Mr. Quarterback.
And number 15 on our list of top 10 catchers.
He was.
Yeah,
he was number.
He
15.
would have somebody pick a card, look at it, show it to the audience, put it back in the deck. He would put the deck in a Mr. Quarterback and set it. And so this deck of cards would come flying at him, and he would, kind of always catch one. And he would be like, "Is this your card?" And it never was, of course.
It never was.
And he'd be like, "Well, what was your card?" And they'd be like,
he'd go through and find it.
No, you go, that was a 3 of clubs. And he would look around, and then he would for a minute or so, and then go, "I'm sorry, this is as close as I can get." Because he wasn't a magician; he was a comedian. But just the sight of this deck of cards just
flying
was always
funny.
Hilarious.
I wonder how much Mr. Quarterbacks go on eBay these days.
I don't know. We got to see if we can find a Mr. Quarterback, a Johnny Bench pitch back, a Johnny Bench batter up, and a.
Tell you what, if the Giants get a Mr. Quarterback and stick it behind center, they might do all right this year.
You know what?
Motorized thing.
Put it on top of a Roomba.
Put that on top of a batter up and let it spin.
And you got yourself a fun Sunday.
That's right.
Absolutely. So we're here to talk about Johnny Bench. And
I thought we were done with Johnny Bench.
Yeah, we pretty much were, but yeah, just a crazy good
Johnny Bench, the Bob Backlund of catchers.
There you go. There he is, number 2, Johnny Bench. So I think you all can guess who our number 1 catcher of all time in Major League Baseball is.
Buster Posey.
It would be Buster Posey.
Yeah. Come to a fork in the road, take it.
Take it, yeah. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
Too crowded.
Yeah, there you go. Gotta love him. Gotta love him, Mr. Yogi Berra. Lawrence Peter Berra. This is an actual given name. Yogi, obviously a nickname, but nobody knows him as Lawrence Peter. They know him as Yogi. 1946 to 1965. He was played for the Yankees from 1946 to 1963. He managed the Yankees in 1964. Then he played for the Mets in 65, and then went on to manage the Mets and the Yankees a bunch of times each once for the Mets straight through, and then the Yankees probably about 16 times back and forth between him and everybody that were going back and forth playing musical managers for those few years back then. But in any event, finished his career coaching with the Astros up through 89. But let's look at his numbers. 2,150 hits, 1,430 RBIs. Actually, he has the highest number of RBIs.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Bench has the second number. I had them reversed. Johnny Bench is the second highest number. 1,430 RBIs, number 1 on our list. 358 home runs, career batting average of .285, and 59.5 wins above replacement.
And 30 stolen bases.
His Yogi-isms.
And maybe the only person on this list who has his own museum.
Yeah.
There's a Yogi Berra Museum in Montclair, New Jersey, at Montclair State College.
And Montclair State University. Yeah, there's a Yogi Berra Museum. Examples. The It Ain't Over Till It's Over. Deja Vu all over again. You can observe a lot by watching. That was a good one. Whatchamacallit? When you come to a fork in the road, take it. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. Whatchamacallit? Thank you for making this day necessary.
That's a good one.
Always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't go to yours.
That's my favorite. Well, actually, I got another favorite. It's more of a story, but yeah.
A nickel ain't worth a dime anymore. There you go. You can't imitate him. You can't imitate him. Don't copy him. Or if you can't imitate him, don't copy him. There you go.
That's it.
90% of the game is half mental. And I really didn't say everything I said.
That's right.
Those are.
Doesn't that sound like every politician nowadays?
Absolutely.
My favorite Yogi Berra-ism isn't really a saying, but it's supposedly he went to they went out for pizza after the game. I think it was just him and Billy Martin or something. And
I'd love to sit at that table.
And they order a pizza, and the waitress says, "Would you like that cut into 8 or 12 slices?"
Yeah, I know.
And Yogi goes, "You better make it 8. I don't think we can eat 12."
Oh, you gotta love it. Oh, I love him. What a great guy.
Maybe maybe the most lovable athlete of all time.
Absolutely, by far.
Yeah.
Except for maybe a couple of calls and decisions he made in Game 7 of the '73 World Series, but other than that,
it wasn't the best manager of all time, but it wasn't the worst either.
No, by far, no, not at all.
Yeah.
But
I got a raw deal with the Yankees, and I'm glad that it kind of,
made up for it,
smoothed over at the end.
Smoothed it all, yeah. Just a great guy, and I love the Wikipedia. At the very top, it says Yogi Berra, and I'm not kidding you. It says Yogi Berra, not to be confused with Yogi Bear.
That's right. Yeah,
I love it. That's just
and a long time. I mean, ever since he played for the Yankees, he was a long-time North Jersey resident. I think he lived in West Caldwell or something.
He
right?
lived in at the towards the end there, between
didn't
Montclair and West Caldwell.
Didn't him and Phil Rizzuto open up some bowling alleys because they couldn't make enough money during the regular season?
They did. They opened up. There was a bowling alley. They owned a bowling alley in Clifton.
Clifton, there you go. Yeah. It was near Rutt's Hut.
It was on just off of Route 3.
Yeah.
It was behind. Remember Romance?
Yeah.
The bowling alley behind there. That's what they were.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. But
I mean, above and beyond everything he said, I mean, I think the only other athlete that is close to just the success rate that he had was somebody like Bill Russell.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe some of those old Montreal Canadiens, but I mean, just incredible.
The team or just the people that live in Montreal?
The team. Okay. And the people. I mean, they're lovely, the French Canadian.
Sure.
If you ask them, they would say this.
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
But, I mean, you could say, oh, he was on a great team, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, there's a lot of people that have been on great teams.
Right.
But he was something else.
Yeah, he was. Yogi Berra. Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra, number 1 on our list of top 10 MLB catchers in all time. There you go. All right. Well, that brings us to this week's edition of Hold on.
Digging. Speaking of old balls, are you digging them out?
I'm digging them out. This week's issue of Old Balls. There we go. Harry, why don't you tell us who this week's Old Balls recipient is?
Well, in the spirit of top 10 catchers of all time.
And Yankees.
And
Mets.
And Mets. Look, I can't help it if the Yankees had some great catchers and the Mets, Mm-hmm. This week's recipient is none other than Mr. Joe Torre, who, I think a lot of people think of him more as a manager.
Yeah.
He ranks 5th all time in Major League history with 2,326 wins as a manager.
Look how young he is there on the Braves.
Yeah, but he was a catcher, and Joe Torre was a hell of a player. He had a .297 career batting average. He had 2,342 hits, 252 home runs, and 1,185 runs batted in. And that's nothing to sneeze about. He was a 9-time All-Star, a 4-time World Series champion. Obviously, some of that was all of those were as a manager. He won the Gold Glove. He won the National League batting champion in 1971 and the National League RBI leader that same year. Mm-hmm. And of course, we all know, his incredible tenure as the Yankees skipper. So
And his forgettable tenure as a Met skipper.
True. I mean, that's where him and Yogi Berra sort of have some things in common.
Right.
But
well, at least Yogi took the Mets to the World Series.
He did indeed. And again, I think Joe Torre became this cultural figure, at least later in his career as a manager, because he took a Yankees franchise which had been in a really, really long drought, and a lot of people sort of doubted the acquisition of Torre as manager. I think he was
eating it a lot.
Yeah, and I think he was the complete opposite of everything in baseball today. He was a tough manager. He was a player's manager in some ways, and he really relied a lot on his other coaches. But at the end of the day, you knew who was in charge of that team. And I don't think he was using analytics to make his decisions. I think he had a real knack for really seeing where everybody was at any moment in any game and who was the right person to be in the right spot. And but despite him being, despite having late success as a manager, he was a manager for a long time before he had a lot of success. Hell of a catcher. Well, he was, there's not too many catchers who win batting titles. I mean, I guess Joe Mauer did it. Did Piazza ever do it? I don't think Piazza ever did it.
I don't think so.
So, I mean, there you go. This week's recipient of Old Balls and entering himself into the hallowed halls of the Old Balls Hall of Fame, none other than Mr. Joe Torre.
Jack Kerouac called Joe Torre the best catcher since Roy Campanella.
Yeah.
Not coming from Jack Kerouac.
Jack Kerouac was high as a kite, but
yeah, but he knew catchers.
He knew catchers.
He did.
He knew catchers.
He did.
Him and Bukowski, both of them knew catchers.
But Bukowski was really an expert on second base, and definitely had to turn the 2-4-1 double play.
2-4-1 double play.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. But,
in fact, Post Office is going to be called 2-4-1 until he changed the title.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize, because he started, Joe Torre started his career with the Milwaukee/Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves, yeah.
And he played the first 9 years of his career. He played with Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
So, and would have been longer. He had a bad feud with the general manager of the Braves over his salary. So they dumped him off to the Cardinals. So, but in any event, and the rest is history, as they say. But yeah, no. I thought that fact about Jack Kerouac was pretty interesting.
Yeah. As a player for the Mets, he also was the first in the National League to hit into 4 double plays in one game.
In one game, yeah. Yes, he did. He hit into 4 double plays in one game. But it was always because of the guy that got on base before him.
Right.
He couldn't run.
I don't know.
That's the story I heard.
I know, yeah. That sounds like a Yogi Berra-ism.
I think I heard it from Yogi, actually.
I wouldn't have hit into a double play if that guy wasn't on first.
Exactly. What more do you want? I mean,
That's right.
So there you go.
It's his fault, not mine.
Anyway, so the last year he played for the Mets was the first year he managed for the Mets. He was a player manager in '77.
Yeah.
And then the press called him Clueless Joe when he was the Mets manager. And then he goes on to be, help the Yankees win 4 out of 5.
I think there's very few people who know more about baseball. And still today, I mean, I think he still just has incredible insights into people.
I just wish he would, put Rob Manfred in a box somewhere and take over.
Yeah.
Because
he doesn't want it. He doesn't want to.
I know he doesn't want to. I know.
Yeah.
And if he wanted to, he would have done it already. He would have had it. So, but there you go. So that's this week's Old Balls.
Old Balls.
And there you have it. That's baseball for today. We had planned on getting it done in a little bit shorter, but hey, we had some decent conversations.
Well, Pete had some detours into women's softball and lawsuits. So
hey, it was all baseball related.
Right.
It was all baseball related.
It's all good. I'm glad we brought it up.
Let's talk a little NFL.
What is that? What's the NFL?
What NFL? That's that football thing.
I hear there's a draft coming up.
There is, and there's a couple things to talk about. First thing is the draft. They have
Mel Kiper's draft.
Mel Kiper releases a new mock draft every hour
3
on
hours.
the hour.
Yeah.
But
Every
and he's just one of
25
7,500. So, folks, what we're going to do, we talked about it for the last couple of weeks. We're actually going to do our own draft, our own mock drafts. Each of us, we're going to do our own mock draft. You want to do them? Pardon me. You want to do them next week, or you want to do them the week after, which is
Let's
the day
do the
before
week after, because that'll, if there's any trades or movements.
Yeah. So we'll do them the 2 weeks from today. We'll do it. It's actually the day before the draft starts. So, couldn't get better timing than that. So.
We could do that in lieu of a top 10.
There you go. We'll do that. There you go. We can do that. We'll do that. But whatchamacallit, the looks like whatchamacallit, the Patriots traded with the Falcons just today. They traded up to number 4. So between the Jaguars, the Jets, the 49ers, and the Patriots, looks like the top 4 picks are going to be quarterbacks.
I thought the Patriots are going to pick Penny Sewell to help block for Cam Newton.
Oh yeah, because that's exactly what Bill Belichick's going to want to do with this with the number 4 pick they just traded up for.
Yeah.
I mean,
he is unconventional.
Well, of course.
I think the 49ers let people know who they're picking at 3, and so that Belichick could move up to 4. I really do, but we'll see. It sounds like the 49ers are going to go with the kid from Alabama.
Yeah.
And so that puts Justin Fields in a Patriot uniform.
Yes, it does.
Or Trey Lance.
Could you imagine if Justin Fields, after everything that he did, falls to 5 or lower in the draft? I mean, it could happen, and that's not a bad thing necessarily either.
There's so many differing opinions on these quarterbacks this year. I mean, yes, the vast majority of people have Trevor Lawrence as the definitive number 1, and he will go number 1. But there are other people who you just have people that think Justin Fields is by far the best. You have people that think Mac is the best, or Trey Lance, who I think played 6 games. Isn't he like 16 or something like that? He's the first person to go directly from Pop Warner to the NFL.
I don't know exactly. I don't understand. I don't understand how that's in there. I mean, hey, you know what? If he can do it, kudos to him. But more power to him. But
if you're
I like Justin Fields.
If you're Justin Fields, where would you rather go?
To the Patriots.
You'd rather go to the Patriots. So yeah,
I think Justin Fields.
They're all going to get their money. They're all going to
get paid. Yeah,
they're all going to get paid. So
I mean, the only difference is that he's going to probably be thrown right into the fire. Maybe
all of these quarterbacks are gonna.
You think even with Garoppolo?
I think that if San Francisco gets the quarterback that they're going to want, they're going.
I think Garoppolo will inevitably get injured.
They're going to that, or they're going to while he's not injured, they're going to trade him for whatever they can get, and they might even do a draft day trade. And get another pick, get another number 1 pick, from somebody. But
yeah, so you think the 49ers are definitely going to take the kid from Alabama?
I think they are.
Mac Jones, is that his name?
If they can get somebody
Mac Davis,
kind of overlook Garoppolo's injury history and look at it, what he's done when he's on the field, then they'll get.
Well, he wins. He wins when he's on the field,
yeah.
But he's not a great. You can't say he's a great quarterback, but he wins. His team wins when he's on the field.
Yes. Yeah,
At least they have. He's only 3-3 last year.
Yeah, that's true. When he's on the field, yeah, that's true.
But I mean, the 49ers in the past also won when Colin Kaepernick was on the field. So
in the beginning, but then not so much later on.
Right. Well,
once other teams figured out Kaepernick, then that was it. That was pretty much it for that. But
I mean, do you think Garoppolo's a better quarterback than any of these guys that are top 4 draft picks?
I think Garoppolo's a better quarterback right now than any of these guys. Me too. Who's to say in another year or two that won't change, and it probably will.
Like I said, this idea that you can't have 2 good quarterbacks is just ridiculous. I mean, it's worked for almost every great franchise in NFL history.
Well, right, and especially if you're a team that is thinking, we're close to winning something or we've got a shot at something. if your starter goes down for 5 games,
right, exactly.
and you've got some scrub on the bench, you got to have somebody that can.
How long did Aaron Rodgers sit behind Brett Favre? How long did Steve Young?
Aaron Rodgers sat behind Steve Young.
3 years, 4 years.
Aaron Rodgers sat behind Steve Young. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Drew Brees.
He never sat behind Steve Young.
Brett Favre. Thank you. I'm reading things as I'm talking. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 3 years or 4
years.
Almost 4 years.
Steve Young sat behind Montana
like
for how
6.
many? Yeah, 6 or 7 years.
Steve Young sat behind. Well, Steve Young was on the Bucs first, right? And then
but see, still, he was, and then they made the move, and then Montana came back, and then they traded Montana,
and then but I mean, Steve Young got his.
He still had a pretty good career.
Steve Young got his intro into being the 49ers quarterback because of Leonard Marshall.
Right. That's what I mean.
So yeah,
he might not have even done that. He did.
Exactly. So, whatchamacallit, and then even
another
further,
BYU guy, right? Wasn't Steve Young a BYU guy?
Steve Young was a BYU guy, yeah. And go back even a little further. I mean, back in the late '60s, early '70s, you had Craig Morton and Roger Staubach on the Cowboys together. Mm-hmm. Craig Morton wins a Super Bowl and goes to a Super Bowl, plays in a Super Bowl, and then
then you had Craig Morton and John Elway, and
then you had Craig Morton and John Elway, and so it's just the list goes on and on. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no reason that the 49ers.
I mean, Eli Manning and Daniel Jones. I mean, two Hall of Famers right back to back.
But you had Kurt Warner and Eli Manning. There's two Hall of Famers on the same team that year. But I mean, hey, you know what? Even call it with the the Giants. I mean, they're not Hall of Famers, but you had Jeff Hostetler and Phil Simms.
Yeah, we've discussed that before.
Don't forget Neil O'Donnell and
Neil
Bubby
O'Donnell
Brister.
And Bubby Brister. Yeah, absolutely. How can you forget O'Donnell and Brister?
I mean, is there?
That's a law firm now. I think.
Right, we have to do top 10 worst sports names ever, because if Bubby Brister is not in the top 10, then. That Bubby Brister sounds like grandma's friend who she plays bridge with.
Bubby Brister, yeah.
That sounds like
Southern macaroons. Bubby Brister's coming up.
That sounds like Dad was really drunk in the hospital when the kid was born. It's
gonna be Bobby, but it's Bubby.
They're filling out the form and they're like, "What first? It's Bubby."
Bubby.
Okay,
it's Bubby.
Bubby. It's Bubby.
It's Bubby. His sister's name is Muffy. The last name's Brister.
Brister. From Worcester. Anyway, but you're talking about, okay, you're talking about him. Let's talk about the Jets for a second.
Is there anybody happier in America than Sam Darnold?
Well, let's right now the back and forth, Joe Douglas and some of the scouts and the coaching staff went to scout Justin Fields, and I think they're just doing their due diligence, in case, hey, what happens if something, whatever. They just want to know. Obviously, they're taking Zach Wilson. That's a foregone conclusion. But
is it?
I think so. I do.
He might be a little bit happier than Sam Darnold
right now. The betting is Zach Wilson to be picked second is negative 2,500. So you have to bet $2,500 to win $100. To win $100, yeah. And Justin Fields is plus 1,500. So you can bet 100 and win 1,500 if he gets picked second. But the Jets have the second, the 20, and the 23rd pick in the first round, and then they have the 34th pick. The second pick in the second round.
They have to get these right.
Yeah, those three picks more than any they have to get right.
And by the way, those two picks after Wilson need to be offensive linemen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that will not happen.
But probably not. But
pick some weird cornerback from Appalachian State.
Let's look back. Really,
a kicker.
Well, for the Jets, that's actually not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But
they can get a kicker in the third.
Without offensive linemen, they'll
second round.
Without decent offensive linemen, he'll be kicking.
Maybe a punter.
A lot of 55
That'd
yards.
be great if the Jets took a punter with the second
pick overall.
But he's also a backup quarterback.
He is.
But yeah, he can play quarterback if we need him to.
Yeah.
So anyway,
who was what was the guy? Jensen, Jim Jensen.
Jim Jensen, yeah,
played for the Dolphins or the Oilers or whoever it was. Yeah. He was a punter. He was a backup quarterback. He was a wide receiver.
And he'd sliced, he diced.
Exactly, it slices, it dices. Let's take a look at this for a second. Quarterbacks drafted in the first round by the Jets since Joe Namath. Okay.
We've looked at this.
Well, I got the numbers here.
Yeah.
So let's look at this.
Okay.
Richard Todd.
Richard Todd wasn't bad.
1976. His overall record. All right. Well, first of all, before I even say this, don't look it up. Let me ask you. There's been 5 first-round drafted quarterbacks since Joe Namath for the Jets. Richard Todd, Ken O'Brien, Chad Pennington, Mark Sanchez, and Sam Darnold. Which of those 5, both of you, tell me right now, don't look, which of those 5 has the best record?
Ken O'Brien.
Ken O'Brien?
Yeah.
Pete, Ken O'Brien? Okay.
Yeah.
Richard Todd, 1976, his overall record with the Jets was 42, 51, and 1. Ken O'Brien in 1983, his overall record with the Jets was 50, 55, and 1.
Oh.
So more wins.
More wins, yeah. Chad Pennington in 2000, his overall record was 32 and 29.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a better record right there for Chad Pennington. Mark Sanchez in 2009, 33 and 29. He beats out
I thought you meant who had the most wins of these guys.
Well, obviously Ken O'Brien had the most wins. I just said a better record, I said.
Okay.
But 33 and Ken O'Brien had you're both right. Ken O'Brien had the most wins. Mark Sanchez had the better record, percentage
and the butt
obviously.
fumble.
And the butt fumble, you can't forget that. And Sam Darnold, obviously, 3 years ago, 13 and 25 was his record. But speaking of that now, did you see the article that the guy in Utah wrote the other day? Did you see this?
No.
He's a newspaper man, and I forget his name is. Hold on.
That guy. That's a gentleman in Utah.
Robinson is this Dave Robinson, I think. Anyway, he wrote an article. He said, "Please, these are going to be quotes from the article I'm reading. Please, Jets, give Zach Wilson a break." Okay. Then he says, "Look, the Jets are to quarterbacks what Larry King was to marriage." That's what he said.
Larry King's record was much more impressive.
Much more impressive.
I think he got
he had more longevity than any of those guys.
And he also paid more to his ex-wives than the Jets paid to the quarterbacks.
To the quarterbacks, yeah. And he said, "Where will Wilson be in a few years? Looking into demanding a trade, that's for sure." Okay. And then this was the one that put Jets fans that read this over the edge. He said, hold on, I got to get back to it. He said, "Namath is the single most overrated football player in history."
I mean, statistically, he might be right in that. Not the single most.
He said single most.
He's not that far off, but
he wasn't a great quarterback. But he won a Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl. He won the first Super Bowl for the Jets for the AFC.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend just because of that.
Yeah. Here's some comments back at this guy that were on Twitter. Let's look. This author is an entire and whole idiot. Which we call it. Bashing Joe Namath was a step too far.
Everything else was fine. It's just,
he didn't say anything about anything else. Right? He said nothing about that.
The guy who does the commercials for the money store, we're going to protect him.
Informed Doug Robinson. Yeah, right. Informed Doug Robinson to close his mouth in regards to the New York Jets. Last time I checked, Zach Wilson was a grown-up. That's what he said. We're New York Jets followers. We New York Jets followers get it. We're a joke, blah, blah. However, don't depart Joe Namath the heck out of it. Or leave Joe Namath the heck out of it. I don't know if the word depart is in there. Leave Joe Namath the heck out of it. And this was the best one. "Hey, Doug, eat shit." Signed every New York Jets fan. So, anyway. But
very detailed, in-depth comebacks.
Absolutely. Whatever. But the thing I found the funniest, though, is the odds to make the playoffs next year. All right. The Jets are plus 425 to make the playoffs next year. The Panthers are only plus 220. So Sam Darnold, they're saying, obviously got the better of the deal. So we'll see what happens with it.
Probably going to have a good season.
He's got some weapons.
As he always does, but he's got more people around him. He's got a better opportunity to show just how great he is with that giant head. It's funny seeing him without a helmet on.
Lego firefighter? The Lego fireman, yeah.
He has the most enormous head I've ever seen on a human being.
Does, yeah.
And he does kind of have that, that Bubby from Worcester.
Yeah.
From Worcester kind of look to him.
Vista from Worcester. Yeah.
This is my girlfriend, Muffy, and my dog, Muffy, too.
Muffy, too. But, hey, you know what? I think that I think things will turn around a little bit for the Jets. Who knows? Hey, you know what? I mean, laughingstock, you want to call them? I'm not a Jets fan by any means, but memory serves, they were in 2 AFC Championship games in a row, like 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah, so, that's the anchor we cling to.
So you can hold that. You can hold on to that. And it was only 10 years before that they were in another AFC Championship game. So hey,
he immediately becomes the best quarterback in New York City.
Here's the thing about
City, yeah.
What's that guy's
City,
name?
yeah.
Doug.
Get that right.
Doug Johnson.
Doug Robinson.
Doug Robinson. Why does he not have anything else to write about?
Because he's in Utah.
Because he's. Hey, who knows?
Donovan Mitchell, come on.
He doesn't like basketball.
Apparently not.
He's in Utah and he doesn't like basketball.
Apparently,
he's going to write about how
he really likes Zach Wilson and he wants to see him go to a better team. That's what he wants to say.
Oh, because of the BYU thing. I got you.
Right.
Oh,
he's protecting his other Latter-day Saint brethren.
There you go.
I wanted to bring up something I forgot to bring it up in baseball, but it involves I can't say a sports writer, but who Phil Mushnick is?
Mm-hmm.
The media critic.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
He writes for the Post or whatever. I don't know. I think I used to read his column, but he sucks, so I stopped reading it. So he was criticizing Gary Sanchez for using an interpreter.
Why?
And there's a lot of things to criticize Gary Sanchez for. But using an interpreter is not one of them.
But here's the point.
Can that interpreter interpret a fucking fastball?
I guess he was saying that. I guess maybe Gleyber Torres was, obviously English is not his first language, but he took it upon himself to, work hard to learn how to, speak better and all that. Mm-hmm. And he called Gary Sanchez lazy for using an interpreter.
Interesting.
Which, is kind of a racist trope. You're too lazy to learn English, and
absolutely.
That's what they say. Absolutely. You shouldn't. There's no need for a Spanish menu, right? For Spanish, English press 1 for Spanish.
Yeah, they didn't say that with Ichiro or any of the Japanese pitchers or players.
Yeah. So, but it was interesting because he had some people on the radio that were saying, "Well, it's just his opinion." Yeah, and I don't know.
It's the kind of thing that why would you even go there? I mean, it's sort of bodes of sort of a preconditioned response, just kind of going there.
Yeah. Like you'd have to kind of not realize that was offensive to even say that. You'd think, right? Unless you were looking at it.
How do you know he hasn't worked hard on? I mean, I work with Spanish-speaking individuals every day, and I try, but I haven't spent 12 hours a day trying to learn a second language, and does that make me lazy? I love when there's an interpreter around. It's great. So no, I mean that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. That's absolutely.
I mean, I can list 10 things to criticize Gary Sanchez about being lazy because he didn't learn a second language in the last 3 years. Is not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't learn it well enough to do his own press conferences.
I mean, there's some English-speaking athletes who have not learned English. So
no, that's true.
that need a little work, absolutely.
Or at least a translator, so I can understand.
Understand what you're saying. Back to
the NFL.
Back to the NFL for a minute.
I forgot to mention that during baseball.
No worries. Going on to the Giants for just a quick second. There's talk all over the place. Now they're saying that people are thinking that Devonta Smith is going to fall to 11.
He's not.
I don't think he is.
If him or Chase or any of those top 3 receivers are available at that, then they have to take him.
They have to take him. They have to.
Yeah. And back in the day, Kyle Pitts was in the discussion for the Giants, and now they're saying he could go as high as 5 or 4, or was 4 with Atlanta.
Here's the thing, though. Now they had these mock drafts, for the last 2-3 months, obviously, or longer, and whatchamacallit, they had Devontae Smith, Kyle Pitts, all these other guys.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. Not falling to 11. And that was before the other 2 or 3 quarterbacks were being talked about sneaking into the top 5, 6, 7, whatever, the top 10 picks. Now they're in there, but these guys still aren't going to fall to 11. How is that even possible?
I don't know.
Are they adding extra picks between 1 and 11, or it's odd. But you know what?
I see mock drafts where they are all down. I
saw a couple mock drafts where Devonta Smith is falls below 11. Giants don't even take him, and he falls to 15 or 16.
I mean, there for a while there was a lot of mock drafts where the Giants were getting. I had the opportunity to take Devonta Smith, and they said that they would take him. And getting an impact player like that, who receivers can seem to be able to get out of the gate pretty well and make an impact. And when you can get him on a rookie contract for 4 years or whatever, and the Giants have historically been pretty good at drafting receivers.
Absolutely.
So,
but we'll see what happens with that.
There's talk of the Broncos taking Micah Parsons or Kyle. I mean, it's all over the place.
They're saying that the Giants are really think that they're really in love with Waddle too.
There's all the talk is about the quarterbacks, but there's 3 or 4 top-notch receivers in this draft.
Absolutely.
I think
it should be an interesting draft. And 2 weeks from today, we'll do our
and who's the cornerback that I think people are overlooking? Caleb. I think he's going to be a surprise. I think he's going to jump up somewhere.
He's
Johnny Brister.
Bubby Brister. Bubby Brister's mom is going to be in the draft. It's fantastic.
She's a hell of a punter.
She is.
He's where is it?
She's a hell of a bridge player.
It's not even in here. Hold on. Where the heck is it? I'm looking for him. I want to find his name. It's not even here.
Who are we talking about now?
The kid, the
cornerback? Yeah, it's Caleb.
Here's Afitu Melifonwu.
Caleb Farley.
Caleb Farley. Yeah, he's not even on this mock draft.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I digress. Back to the Giants. One other point to make. Joe Judge apparently is assembling a huge coaching staff. He's got 25 members of his coaching staff. It's the biggest in the NFL. There's only a couple teams that have 24 or 23 or 24. Most teams have 21, and several teams have 18 or 19. He's got 25 coaches. He got the green light to pay them all. So that's what.
Can any of them block?
I'm hoping, and that's not even including any of the. That's not even including any of the consultants too. Like they hired Pat Flaherty to come back. He's just a consultant. He's not added on as a member of the coaching staff. So he's.
What does that even mean?
Can one of those consultants be John Madden or Bill Parcells?
Does he go up to one of the coaches and go, "This is how you should coach"?
Pretty much.
Now go do it.
That's what he's doing. That's pretty much what he's doing.
I want you to work with
he's
the
coaching the coaches.
but only on backpedaling.
He's coaching the coaches. So he's not on the field during the game. Maybe he's sitting in the booth. Maybe he's just there during the week. Who knows what his job is actually going to be. But he's basically coaching the coaches.
You're coaching the offensive guards, but only on pass blocking.
Exactly. Let's shift.
Only use of the left hand.
Right. Yeah.
We got somebody else to do the right hand.
How do we feel? How do you guys feel about Julian Edelman retiring?
It surprised me a little bit, but good for him.
Because they cut him, right? They cut him, and then he retired.
Yeah, he didn't pass.
I believe was the order of he failed the physical. They cut him. He retired. But I did a little digging. I was looking, and I saw something, and I researched it. He's actually got the second most receptions in playoff history behind Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice has 151. Julian Edelman has 118. Next guy has under 100.
Yeah, what's the yardage though?
He's got 1,442 yards receiving in the playoffs.
And what does Rice have?
I don't know. I didn't pull that up. More.
Yeah.
More.
Still, that's an accomplishment.
It's definitely an accomplishment. So 5 TDs in the playoffs. He was in played in 6 Super Bowls, has 3 rings and 1 MVP. So I mean, you can call that a career.
And he's on his third supermodel, isn't he?
He's on his third supermodel. Yeah. He went
That's
back
perhaps the most impressive.
Yeah, and he was one of the
models.
Absolutely, he was one of the reasons. Exactly one of the reasons that Matt Harvey didn't show up for those 2 days because he was depressed because he lost his girlfriend to Julian Edelman.
How is Matt Harvey doing this season? I wonder.
Good.
Isn't he hosting the Family Feud?
No. He's hosting Match Game. Match Game. But no, he's
still wearing those
Steve Harvey.
Oh, Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. That's true. He won. Matt Harvey won his first game. I don't know how he did in a second, but he won his first game convincingly too for the Orioles. It was pretty good. But
convinced everybody that he won.
Convinced everybody.
That's going to be.
He convinced everyone that he won.
Convincingly, that's a word you probably won't hear a lot with the Orioles this season.
And
convincingly bad, maybe.
Exactly. Getting into a little NFL crime before we finish up NFL.
No more. No.
Do you hear about Aaron Donald?
No.
Allegedly attacked a guy in Pittsburgh over the weekend. Broke his nose, his eye, his arm.
Did anybody help him, or does the sack go completely into his credit?
Pretty sure he got 100% of the sack on that one. Yeah. So, I mean, he's from Pittsburgh, and it was an after hours club late Friday night, I believe it was.
Michael Strahan got half of that sack.
Yeah. So,
Stop.
He was accused of it. He badly injured this guy. And who knows if there was history between them. I mean, he could have known him from, not that it matters. Knew him or it was random. Well, either way, it's wrong. But yeah, so that's happening now. And then just on the Deshaun Watson thing, I know we talk about it every week, but whatchamacallit, names have been attached. Women have attached their names to the lawsuits. But one woman dropped her civil suit. She's out of it. She ended it. And there is
that the first domino?
I don't know. We'll see.
Or is she just an anomaly?
It could be. Well, time will tell with that. But whatchamacallit, there is talk. There is scuttlebutt that there might be
scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
Talk that's a word only Bubby Brister would use.
How do you use that Bubby Brister word?
Buffy Brister.
Scuttlebutt and hijinks.
Not Buffy Brister.
Scuttlebutt and hijinks in the Deshaun Watson case.
The hijinks was Aaron Donald. Scuttlebutt is on the Deshaun Watson case. There's been talk around the league that the Eagles are actually trying to trade for him.
Well, that would make sense in their history, the history of fucking delinquent quarterbacks. Yeah.
But in any event, so that's that.
All right.
So,
I don't want to bring. You got another one, or because I want to bring one up?
No, bring your stuff up. Go for it.
All right. Along the continuing with the NFL and crime. So prosecutors have announced charge in the Britt Reed case.
Okay.
Apparently, one charge, one felony count of driving while intoxicated.
Okay.
And this is, of course, him leaving the Chiefs facility, driving 84 miles an hour in a 65 zone, hitting those cars on the off ramp, and that I think she's 5 years old. That girl is she's been released from the hospital, but she eats through a feeding tube. She can't walk or talk. She's seriously injured. And the family, of course, is outraged and saying, "How do you come up with this?" I mean, he hit one car at 84 miles an hour, and then by the time he hit the second car, he was only going 68. And he said he had 2 or 3 drinks. His blood alcohol was 0.113. The legal limit, of course, is 0.08. And the latest thing about this that's especially got the family upset is that the Chiefs are not saying anything. They are mum about, was he drinking at the facility? Was anybody else drinking? Of course, alcohol strictly prohibited at the Chiefs facility. Hard to believe they never have a beer after a game or something, but I don't think it's champagne they're spraying around when they, win the championship game. But that there are a lot of questions. Who was drinking? How much? Where was he drinking? Did he get in his car and then chug a 6-pack or whatever? I don't know. How much you have to drink to get to that blood alcohol level. But they are reluctant to release information, and that probably means that there's some potential culpability there. But it does seem, I don't know. He did a lot of damage, and I don't know what else you could charge him with, but one felony count of driving while intoxicated seems kind of strange.
Yeah.
Seems kind of light. I mean, it's a 7-year maximum sentence, I guess, but didn't kill anybody, but that's, he's obviously, he's altered this young girl's life forever.
Yeah.
Assumedly she'll survive. She's out of the hospital, but she's got serious brain damage. So I don't know. I know his dad is their coach, but if the Chiefs have information about what was going on, they need to come forward with it.
Well, I'm sure that information is known. It's just not being released publicly. So I'm sure it was part.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They know it. They know.
What's the difference? I mean, if he was drinking at the facility, who gives a shit? It's still his. He still decided to get in an automobile and drive.
Right.
So yes, but I don't blame anybody. He's a grown man.
I agree with you, but that's not necessarily the way the law may look at it. If they could consider the Chiefs have some responsibility if he was breaking the rules. And look, he was really drunk, and I think that might be the crux of the case if there is one. If he was drinking at the Chiefs facility where alcohol is not allowed,
wasn't there a passenger in the passenger seat?
I think so.
While he was driving. Yeah.
But the point is, if there's not supposed to be any alcohol there, and he was drinking there, and they were allowing him to drink that much, it wasn't 2 or 3 drinks. That was bullshit.
Who knows that they were allowing him? He could have just had his own drinks.
Well, That's the question. Was he doing it in secret? Did he leave and get in his car and pound a bunch of booze or whatever?
Look, it's the age-old question. Is the bar responsible if somebody gets in their car drunk and kills somebody?
Well, legally, yes. You're not supposed to. I mean, here in New York State,
but you can't always control
someone. But you're not supposed to. It's illegal to serve someone who's visibly intoxicated. So,
but there's a lot of people who are intoxicated who are not visibly Some people are more visibly intoxicated than others.
Yeah, but if you're at
and you can also. You can go to 3 bars and all get 2 drinks at each bar and not be overserved, and then get in your car.
True,
it's a horrible situation. The worst part about this is that obviously there's a kid involved whose life is completely altered, and again, I think we're talking about somebody who maybe got preferential treatment here.
Yeah, that's. I think that's the family's case.
Sucks.
Oh yeah. All right, yeah. And. Now for a sad story.
Now for a sad story.
I'm laughing.
Can we move on to basketball because I have something criminal to talk about.
All right. This is just. I'm shouldn't joke about this. It's a defense reflex. We all know who Al. I did. We all know who Altoon is, right?
Right. Oh yeah. I heard this.
Yeah, his daughter Molly, who was. An All-American volleyball player at Michigan as a senior. Honorable mention All-American. Anyway, she was a really good volleyball player and apparently killed by a gunshot wound from her husband, who then apparently went she was found outside her house dead of a gunshot wound. He apparently went into the house, killed himself, and leaves behind an 8-month child, 8-month-old child. Yeah,
too many every day. Just these crazy gun-related murders. I mean, who was you also have the ex-football player who shot up. It kind of went under the radar, but who was the ex-football player who shot up 5 people?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just. It sucks. This is ridiculous.
You just kind of wonder what was going on that led to that. That it got to that. Listen, maybe there's there might be some mental illness involved.
Certainly, of course,
there were people who say, "Well, if you shoot your wife and then shoot yourself, you have to be mentally ill." I don't know whether that's technically true or not, but what was going on that would be the the best, like that was thought to be the resolution to it.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't. It's horrible.
Who knows what makes people do these things?
Anyway, sorry to end on a down note, but
no, it's sad. It's sad.
I'll
give you a quick up note before we go to basketball really quick. It'll take 2 seconds. The Chicago White Sox pitcher Carlos Rodon has a perfect game going through 6 against the Indians. The White Sox are up. White Sox are up 8-0. He's through 6, perfect game through 6.
Yeah.
So.
Just wait till Godzilla shows up.
There you go. And there you go. Rodon.
Godzilla, Rodon.
It's Rodon, not Rodon.
No, it depends on which part of Japan you're from.
Depends on where I got you, the dial.
In the northern part, it's Rodon.
And the Mets won, by the way, 5-1.
Yay.
There you go. All right, let's switch it up to B-ball. Go ahead. Harry.
All right. Here's
Harry, tell us about basketball.
Tell us about basketball, will you?
Look,
he's got
the Sixers beat the Nets tonight, 123-117. And it was a lot closer than I think people thought. Only Kyrie Irving played.
Yep.
Here's the reason why Kevin Durant didn't play. Because they don't want to play him on back-to-back nights. Because the game in Minnesota was delayed because of, again, the shooting.
The shooting up there. Yeah.
There.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Bullshit, Kevin Durant and the Nets. You're avoiding playing against the best team in the East. Wouldn't you sit him against the Timberwolves and play him in arguably the biggest game of the year so far for the Nets?
Fairly certain that they knew last night going into that game in Minnesota that they were playing the Sixers today.
You think? This is what I can't stand about the NBA. I just can't stand it. I watched the 1996 Western Conference Finals today on NBA Classics. Okay, Antoine Carr was playing with burnt out retinas. He had to wear special goggles. All right, Sean Kemp was elbowing him in the head repeatedly.
His head fell off twice during that game.
Karl Malone is literally plowing through people, and this is game rest. But you're going to play against the Timberwolves, who I think are one of the worst teams in the NBA. You're going to play him against the Timberwolves, but not have him play against the 76ers, which could be a game which very well could dictate who gets the home court advantage in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Right. Because
this was the third game and last game between these two teams, and going into tonight, it was split. Well, explain this to me, Nets fans. Right. Explain it to me.
Here you go. And the explanation is not one that's based in reason, just as the decision was not. This feeds into a conspiracy theory that one Max Kellerman has not been touting as a conspiracy theory, but has been talking about for a month now. And that is that Kevin Durant is not really that healthy. And he was out for as long as he was out because he's really it was much more serious than they originally said. And they've been playing I call it the Mets game, right? Where you have an injury and it could be 2 or 3 weeks. It could also be 4 to 6 weeks. Well, the Mets will always say,
he's playing. He's
playing. No, I know. But here's the thing.
I know.
They played him against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And
because it would be an easier time, so he wouldn't have had as hard.
No, nothing like that. He couldn't go against Philly because he's not really healthy.
But he played 27 minutes and scored 31 points against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, and then because he's not fully healthy, he was not ready to go. This is the theory,
right? But what
he's
Harry's
a lot
saying,
less healthy than people think, and he's just not ready to play back-to-back games. But they don't want to admit it.
It's not like he was going to cover Joel Embiid. Who's going to cover him?
Definitely get your point. But what I think the case here is it should have been choice, right? Don't play against the Timberwolves so you can play against the Sixers tonight.
But if he doesn't play, but they're trying to – I think they're trying to get him to play back-to-back games. They're testing him. And he's failing the test because he's not healthy. This is the theory. I don't know if it's true.
He looked great. This is the theory. He looked great out there in warm-ups, shooting warm-ups.
He looked fine.
He looked fine. And I think it's maybe the Nets don't want the number 1 seed. Maybe they don't want to play somebody in the first round. I don't know.
Maybe they're worried the Knicks are going to wind up.
Well, the Knicks aren't guaranteed to be that.
But maybe they're worried that the Knicks are going to be that seed that the Nets would have to play, and then they lose to the Nets. So they'd rather, I'm kidding. But
name any of those 4 teams that could potentially be 4 teams that could potentially be the number 8 seed in the.
Right now, the Knicks, the Hornets, the Pacers, and the Bulls.
Do any of them concern the New Jersey Nets? No,
and shouldn't. And shouldn't.
I do not understand this.
Unless Kevin Durant isn't actually fully healthy. And then maybe the Knicks do concern them.
Why is he? Okay, here's your argument. Kevin Durant is not fully healthy. Okay, then why, in a meaningless game against the Timberwolves, would you play him for 27 minutes?
Because they were hoping he could play 2 games in a row, but he couldn't.
No, they knew. No, that's not the case, Pete. Because they knew that they said it distinctively that he's not going to play in back-to-back games until he has to, potentially in the playoffs. They are not going to play him in back-to-back games the rest of this year.
So it wasn't something like today. No. They were hoping he would be able to go today.
It was a decision. The game was postponed, and they played him against the Timberwolves.
So it's not back-to-back games. It's back-to-back days.
Back-to-back days.
Back-to-back days.
Right. Yes, that's what I mean. Back-to-backs. That's what back-to-back means. Right. There's always back-to-back games.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I was not aware that they had said that.
They had said that. And so I think this was just Kevin Durant and the Nets going, you know what? I need an excuse not to play against the Sixers.
I don't know why. Bad.
Can Kevin Durant ever look bad?
No.
I want to really be a Kevin Durant fan, but I can't because of things like this. I just can't. I know. I can't. Other than that, I'm obviously in a bad mood with basketball because with 46 seconds left, the Nuggets season went down the shitter 2 nights ago. And that's too bad. And Greg Popovich is my hero. Other than that, that's my basketball summary.
There you go. Well, on a Knicks note, they did win tonight. They finished the game out. They beat the mighty Pelicans.
Well, they're winning these marginal games sometimes against teams that are equally as bad as them.
Right. Julius Randle had 32 points.
I still think they're going to be right at 500, which great, unbelievable. If it wasn't for Phoenix, I think Tibbs might win Coach of the Year. I mean, it's the Knicks are a great story. The fact that they will probably have the 7th or 8th best record and have to play in some sort of play-in game is ridiculous.
Right.
But, I don't know.
I don't know either. But, hey, you know what? Julius Randle, for the last, not including tonight's game just increases these numbers. But the last 12 games, averaged 23.4 points per game and almost 10 rebounds per game over the last 12. So you add in tonight, those numbers are higher. But you're right. It's a great story, and probably if it wasn't for Phoenix, Tibbs would be looking at Coach of the Year.
Oh, here's an interesting stat. I saw this today. This is per the NBA on TNT pregame show. Since returning from the hamstring injury, I guess going into what would have been tonight's game had he played, Durant has scored 70 points in 70 minutes.
He's the most efficient player in the history of the NBA.
But not against Philly. But not against Philly.
Not against Philly.
Not against the good teams. I don't know. I don't buy the Kellerman's conspiracy theory, but I can't. There's no good reason.
Yeah, I don't buy the conspiracy theory either, but it just doesn't make any sense. Why? Just flat out any other reason that they would play him last night, and just knowing that they couldn't play him today. Yeah. Last night they were playing the Timberwolves.
I don't know what bothers me more, that or the fact that the 7th or 8th team in the East is going to have to play a team that's 12, 14, maybe 16 games under 500. And if they lose to them, they don't make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Because you want to expand it, give it an extra game, have a little more TV time.
Look,
I mean, it's the same thing that they did with baseball last year, and having these extra teams.
Miami and Boston are starting to play good basketball. Boston's had a couple good games in a row. The Heat are,
Yep.
They're coming on. The Knicks
Hawks,
need to get.
Hawks have won 7 out of 10.
The Hawks are going to win the 4th spot, but I think the Knicks need to get into that 6th spot because I don't want to.
I think they can. I think they can get into that 6th spot. I think they can. I think they can move ahead of Miami.
Miami's playing the Nuggets tonight. I think here in Denver, and they're already up 19-13. So we'll see.
Miami's up.
Miami's up.
No, 19-13.
It's early.
19-13 is too early. They're not going to take a 6-point lead to the end of the game.
I mean, if there's any team that's been underperforming and is just,
That's a shame, though, too. But, the Nuggets.
Well, here's the thing with the Nuggets, real quickly. He's probably going to be out till at least this time next year. So that's all of the playoffs this year and most of next year. And then the chance of him coming back right before the playoffs. Yeah. I think the Nuggets have to make a big decision. I think the Nuggets have to make a move in the offseason for a free agent 2 or 1. Yeah. Is Murray really a point guard? I don't know. He's one of these tweeners that's neither, I think, a 1 or a 2. But the Nuggets, with all of the acquisitions that they've gotten with JaVale McGee and Aaron Gordon, they've gotten a lot of really great, versatile players who are really good on the defensive end of the court and can potentially score. Mm-hmm. But what they're missing, and they've been missing it all year, is that knockdown, that third option that can just knock down 3. And what you saw last night when they played Golden State, or 2 nights ago when they played Golden State, was that they cannot. They're great defenders against teams that are, bigger than them or teams that go big, but they can't guard the Steph Currys and the Donovan Mitchells and the Devin Bookers and the Damian Lillards. They just can't. They're too. They don't have any guards anymore. No. Will Barton's playing guard. He's not a guard. Jamal Murray was Monty Morris. So the only 2 real guards, and Campazzo. They need to make a player. And I don't know what the NBA rules are if they can sign somebody to the roster now that there's an injury, or if they have to come from their developmental league. I don't know. But
there's no trades anymore. They can sign players. They can't trade for one.
They need a guard. Yeah. They need it too.
You don't think they can find a guard equal to Jamal Murray?
Sure, they're all over the place. They're right now. They're down at Union Station, just doing interviews.
Pick one up, yeah. Right. So, oh man. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Maybe the Joker can carry him.
And here's the other surprise: is that the Bucks keep winning games without Giannis.
Yeah.
And what is that injury all about?
Yeah.
Talk about a surprise injury. I mean, do you guys know anything? There's no information at all on what's going on with Giannis.
I haven't heard anything. It's been like radio silence.
He's the same doctor as KD, so.
Dr. Vinny Bombats.
Dr. Vinny Bombats. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Bombats.
He doesn't, he's
hey, I tell you,
believes very strongly in.
And I'd really, I'd love to end the podcast and go watch the Nuggets, but I can't because there's a contractual dispute between Comcast and the Nuggets still, and you cannot watch any game unless it's on ESPN nationally that's broadcast the Nuggets. So I can't even watch it when the Nuggets are on NBA TV. No.
Are they in town?
They're at home, so I'm not going to be able to watch the game.
Let's go down there. Maybe get in.
Yeah, I mean, I could go to a bar that has the Dish Network.
Oh, of course, you could do that. Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that on a Wednesday night.
Can't you watch it online? You probably have
I'd have to pay. Online. Yeah, no, there's still outages because it would be through the NBA game. I don't know. I can't remember what it is. I'd have to get a separate account and pay for the whole, season for NBA. But yeah,
that's crazy. On a baseball note, I did tell you, through 7, it's the bottom of the 7th now. So, hey, you could be looking at a perfect game in 2 innings, 6 outs away from a perfect.
No, you just jinx it a few more times.
I'll stop now.
I heard that's not the rule anymore.
By the way, listen, for your Nuggets there, Steph Curry's a free agent next year.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, I've always said that the guy who would fit in perfectly on the Nuggets alongside Jamal Murray was Klay Thompson. But Steph Curry on the Nuggets. Imagine Steph Curry and the Joker playing together. Steph Curry scored 50.
How about Zach LaVine? How about Zach LaVine?
I want Zach LaVine to go to the Knicks, but yeah.
He'll be a free agent.
I know you like the Nuggets, but you like the Knicks more. So
I'll take LaVine. Well, the Nuggets have 2 years to win a championship. And
Kyrie's going to be a free agent, although he's not going anywhere. I don't think Bradley Beal will be a free agent.
I don't really like Beal, and he puts up great numbers, but he just doesn't seem to really be a difference maker.
How about the other
Damian Lillard would be great, but no, Steph Curry.
How about Luka?
Yeah, Luka's not leaving Dallas, and Steph Curry's not leaving Golden State.
There you go.
How about
why don't you do that? Why don't you bring in?
How about Harden? If the
Harden's going to stay with the Nets.
If the Nets don't win this year, Harden might go.
If Harden wants to come to Denver, come on.
Okay,
come on.
It'll be fun. Maybe they take Harden, Kyrie, KD, everybody. They go around together. They go from team to team winning.
Yeah, and we'll have Kevin Durant for 6 games.
They're all going to.
That's all you need, though, right? Yeah.
They're all going to be as long as it's the last 6 games of the NBA Finals, then you're good.
Yeah, well, he's going to come back in the NBA Finals and then blow out his other knee or something.
Yeah. But yeah, they're all going to. They're either going to be free agents or they'll all have options.
I think Harden, Durant, and Irving all re-sign with the Nets.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Unless they don't win. If they don't win, I think.
Well, they might not win this year.
It depends on how they don't win. It depends on how they think.
I think the Sixers can beat the Nets even with Durant because I think they can pound the shit out of them. The thing the Nets have, the Kyrie and Durant are going to play lights out. What's going to be the difference for the Nets is how good James Harden plays in the playoffs.
Right.
And if James Harden steps up, then nobody can beat the Nets.
If James Harden's game is on and KD's actually playing and everybody else is on, the Nets are winning. They're winning. They're winning.
You can't beat them.
You can't even say the Lakers anymore. The Knicks beat the Lakers the other night. I mean,
the Lakers are playing without.
I know they're playing without AD and they're playing without LeBron. I know. But
that's like saying, oh yeah,
But how are they going to be 100%? And come
with LeBron, you don't even need 100%.
I guess. But what about AD?
He's a lot like Durant. That's the other person that they say is a lot more injured than they're letting on.
Yeah. Yep.
True story.
Yeah.
True story. But,
yeah.
All right. Well.
All right. That's, hockey.
That's this week's NBA hockey. Couple interesting things here. I'll bring up for hockey. Right now,
are looking good.
Avalanche are the number 1 team in the NHL right now.
They're the favorites to win the Stanley Cup this year.
There you go. The Stanley Cup's going to go through Denver. But I mean, Vegas is hanging there. Washington, the Islanders are.
You can't rule out the Capitals.
You can't rule out the Capitals. The Islanders will put up. The
Islanders are looking good.
They're looking good. They are. They're looking good. Toronto is still
Toronto's
hanging in there.
Only still hanging in there, 4 points back for the overall points lead.
Yeah, that's true.
They struggled a little bit, but
Carolina, the Hurricanes and the Lightning are right up there too, and Florida. The Panthers, the Lightning, and the Hurricanes are all tied for points in the Central.
Yep.
But
Islanders too.
Yeah, Islanders, and I'm saying in the Central. They're tied with the Islanders.
Oh, yeah, no, I was talking about overall. You got 1, 2,
just
3,
overall,
4,
yeah.
5 teams with 58 points.
Mm-hmm. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Hey, you know what?
And how about those Blackhawks?
But what about them Blackhawks? How about them Blackhawks?
Screw them.
How about them?
Here's how many games we got left.
What are we at? 64.
How many are they playing?
What are they playing? They're playing the same thing. They're playing 72, right? Are they? I think so. I'll double check.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll double check right now. Go ahead. What's your point?
So we're about 40 games in. So it really depends on how many they have left.
Right. Here we go. We got. They're playing 56 games.
56. Okay, so 56. They got another dozen or so.
Yeah. So you're looking at 39. So yeah, you have
So
16, 17 games.
Buffalo's got 14 games left. Will they get to 35 points? They're at 27 right now.
They're at 27 right now, yeah?
Can they pick up 8 points in the next 16 games?
Buffalo, no.
No.
Probably not, no.
They may not get to 30.
They may not get to. That's where I was going to go originally. I thought, they got to be able to pick up 3 points. But
they have great uniforms.
Yeah, the uniforms are cool.
They're 4-3-3 in their last 10. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, hey, you know what?
It's terrible, but still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, you
they
know
lost
what?
17 or 19 games in a row.
Still a professional hockey game. So if they're on one game and the team they're playing is off, they could win. They're not as talented as obviously the Capitals or the Islanders. Here's the
thing there.
Matter, but
here's the thing: Ottawa is just above them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to play,
right?
Anaheim is at 33; they're in the West.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey's at 34. There's your best bet, Buffalo.
There's your best bet.
There's your best bet. A couple games against the Devils.
There you
Devils aren't horrible.
No, but I'm just saying they're the closest. Because then you got Vancouver, Detroit, LA. Columbus is no one else is really that close that they're going to play in the regular season.
Right.
So let's see their schedule here. What day is today?
Today is Wednesday, the 14th.
14th. All right, so you got the Caps back to back against the Penguins. Bruins, 3 against the Bruins, couple against the Rangers. Another against the Bruins. Nope, sorry. No, a couple against the Islanders. Nope, no Devils on your schedule. Sorry, Buffalo.
There you go.
I was pulling for you.
It could have happened. But
I'm a Devils fan, but I like the name. I like Buffalo Sabres.
I know. I gotta tell you, I think the Avalanche. That's if I have to pick right now. I mean, obviously it's they're just playing really good hockey. They really are. So. But we will see what transpires with that. As it gets closer, we'll do more and more hockey, folks, as we get closer to obviously the playoffs and the Cup. So more than we have.
This is a lot more than we should have.
More than
we will spend exactly the same amount of time.
All right. So,
until the finals. There's only 17 rounds of playoffs in hockey.
Game 6 of the finals.
Not to throw the jinx, but I've been saying it, so I might as well keep saying it. 3 outs to go. It's a perfect game through 8. So there you go. 3 outs to go. That would be interesting. So anything on NCAA you guys want to talk about there?
Nope.
I don't think so. I didn't think so. So why don't we wrap it up then?
Yeah, I guess.
Silence on the other end. Nothing.
No, but listen, it'd be interesting. A lot of people are pretty high on the White Sox. So
a lot of people are pretty high. What?
Well,
they're pretty high on the White Sox this year. Yeah, they like them. Think they're going to be pretty good. So
I think
I thought you said the players were pretty high on the White Sox.
I think the White Sox could win the NHL championship.
I think the White Sox could take the Cup this year. Yeah, I do.
Well, listen, as long as they don't have to go against
Penguins.
Anybody who's got Ghidra on the mound, I think they're okay with Rodon.
As Rodon.
Rodon.
Yeah. Rodon. Yeah, I don't. As long as they don't have to go up against KD, I think they could take the Cup.
Yeah.
But,
imagine KD on skates. Talk about ankle breakers. Jeez.
Talking about it, yeah, really. That would be bad. All right, well, we'll wrap the show up for today, folks. On that note, good luck to Carlos Rodon. And his next 3 outs. Let's cross our fingers and hope he gets it. But we'll be talking about it next week if he does. So we'll wrap the show up for today on that note. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you that are just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.loggerroom.com. That's LAGERROM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Logger Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at 7:30. And for those of you that want to just listen to the audio podcast, that's Eastern time, by the way, folks. For those of you that want to just listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Good luck to Rodon and the White Sox in the 9th inning. And have a great weekend, too. Watch a lot of sports, and we'll talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
You want to know how baseball's changed? They're talking to him in the dugout.
They're talking to him in the dugout?
They're talking to the Rodon. He should be sitting in a corner by himself.
He would be sitting in a corner, Years ago, he would be alone. Leave him alone. Let him be
Not
in his
the
line.
same game as when I was a lad.
How come pitch counts don't matter when you're pitching a no-hitter?
Apparently, could you imagine if the manager pulled him out
with 2 outs?
Pitch count's too high. You got to
come out.
They were just having a chat about something.
He went to 107. Get him out of there.
But he's got 1 out to go.
Analytics.
He's got 1 out to go for a perfect. Nope. Come out.
Yeah, but there's 2 lefties in a row coming up, and
it doesn't matter. We'll close it out for you. Good game.
That would be the only baseball move worse than that would be when Mr. Burns took Darryl Strawberry out.
Yeah,
in the company softball game because there was a lefty coming up. It's called playing the percentages.
Playing the percentages.
At that point in his career, he's probably right.
And it was great because Strawberry goes, "You taking me out, Skip? I got 9 home runs today." It's called playing the percentages.
Percentages, yeah.
9 home runs. and he only was up 5 times.
And he was only up 5 times.
All right, peace out, everybody.
All right, next week. See you guys.
Cheers.
Look at the little Tula. She's talking to the president. And a woman in a jumpsuit throws her a grapefruit. By George!